Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes are sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack's at Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proset, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes are sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Good morning. Good morning, my friends. Thanks so much for coming to hang out with me today. Today's Thursday, January 15th, 2026. We're already halfway through January. That's insane. Anybody have Verizon? Did the outage affect you yesterday? I had zero service on my cell phone. And who really has a landline anymore? From 9 a.m. until almost 9 p.m. There was a good at least 12 hours of no service. I could iMessage with people who had iPhones, but I could not make any calls. I could make calls to people who did not have Verizon. So if you had AT&T or T-Mobile, I could call you. Nobody could call me. And luckily, my kids and I all have iMessage. So we were able to iMessage each other. I do have a landline, actually. I was kind of kidding. I just don't have a phone plugged into it, and I don't pick it up because it's all spam. And it was crazy. Imagine how much business was lost. People who couldn't call out and use their cell phone for business. It was wild. I'm sure they're going to give us $1 credit on our bills. So don't worry, because I'm sure they'll come through with the $1 credit. But it was really annoying. Oh no, my camera. I have a whole new setup here. I spent the entire day yesterday setting it up. And I have no idea if it's going to work. I have no idea. Because right now, to me, I look very saturated. So I don't know. I'm going to play with my color settings and the sound and all of that good stuff. So, we're just going to work through it today. We're going to work through it. I'm not the most technologically advanced person, as you know. And I don't know why it happened. They're not really giving a reason. I had to, try and figure it out on my own. I hope nobody had an emergency, because apparently 911 was down as well. And it was a big problem. It was a big problem for a lot of people. So we have a lot of things to catch up on. I don't know. Is that better or worse? Let me know if you can't hear me, if anything is odd. Anthony from Ohio is here, and he says, good morning. I actually work around the corner. I don't know why I just did that. I work around the corner and live about 8 minutes from where Monique Tepe lived. Hi, Anthony. How are you? It's a little dark. I don't know. We'll fix it. Is that better? I look tan. Yeah, I look tan, right? Except that, let's see if, I think StreamYard, I got a whole new, I already use a Mac, so I got a Mac Studio. And I mean, the learning curve is less than had I switched to something else. But I think I can change the brightness on here. Let's see. Let's play around a little bit, shall we? Yeah, but then I look washed out. I don't know. And the ring light is making my eyes look like an alien. I don't know what's going on here. Guess we're going to deal with it for now. I'll figure it out one of these days. Yeah, these outages are happening more and more often these days, and it's odd, right? I'll figure it out. You know what it is? It's my ring light. I had to go in a different place because now my middle screen is so much bigger than the other one. I was working off a 13-inch laptop and a giant second screen, so there's a bit of a learning curve, but it is what it is. I was very productive yesterday with no cell service because I was really worried about because my internet is also Verizon. And so if I didn't have service, then I couldn't stream anyway. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Well, I think if my lips and my voice are off, maybe you can refresh your browser on your end. I don't know. I'm too far away. I can't move any closer because I have things in front of me. It is what it is. And it's also bouncy. Whatever. It is what it is. Get what you get and you don't get upset. So I got really, really interested. I fell into the rabbit hole of Charity Beallis. And boy, is there a rabbit hole. And there's so much information on Charity Beallis, court record wise. So much information. And there's hardly any information on the Tepe case, except I think the Tepe case got so much more attention than Charity Beallis's case. And in Charity Beallis's case, nobody's been arrested yet. And I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy. The video looks better in the background. I think it's a higher quality. Yeah, I mean, everything's a higher quality. I don't know. I don't know if there's a delay. I don't know, whatever. That could be the Verizon issue still. All right. Get Starlink. It's so much better. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can get that where I live. And I also don't want a giant satellite thing on my roof. I hate that. I hate that. I still have an old satellite dish on my roof from like DirecTV that nobody will touch because nobody will touch anybody else's equipment. And so I want to know, and I want you to tell me why it is that you think that the Tepe case got so much more national attention than the Beallis case. But first, let's talk a little bit about the Tepes. Oh, hold on a second. Now I have to, really? They're going to make me restart everything? No. I don't want to do that. They're going to make me come on, man. Hold on a second. I didn't test this yesterday, I guess. Hold, please. I don't get it. All right, you know what? I'm going to have to do this. I'm sorry, you guys, but give me 2 seconds while I just restart this whole dopey thing. So what happens. All right, I'll be right back. Maybe it'll work better when I come back. Maybe I won't be, my voice won't be off. Okay, hold on 1 sec. Be right there. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Okay. So if you're just coming in, you didn't really miss anything because I had to restart my whole computer because everything is new, and that's what happens. This is a beautiful wedding picture of Monique Tepe, 39 years old, and Spencer Tepe, age 37. They lived in Columbus, Ohio, and they were tragically found shot to death on December 30th of 2025. Spencer Tepe was a dentist, and when he did not show up for work that morning around 9 a.m., his coworkers called in a wellness check because they were very worried about him. One of the tragic things about this case is that the Tepe's two small children, aged 4 and 1, were found safe in the home, unharmed. More information is coming out about this case, information in which it has been revealed by the brother-in-law of Spencer Tepe. So he's married to Spencer's sister, has given some interviews lately saying that Monique was emotionally abused by her ex-husband, Michael McKee, who is a vascular surgeon out of Chicago, and he's been arrested for their murders. He's currently awaiting extradition from Illinois to Ohio. I don't think he's been extradited yet, right? There was something like a 10-day manhunt, and Michael McKee was not arrested until January 10th, 2026. There was a very short court appearance the other day. We can look at that if you like. Also, something very odd that happened was when the police went to do the wellness check, Columbus Police Department went to do the wellness check. They live in Wineland Park, lived. The officer went to the wrong house on the wrong street. And then it was some friends who actually went to their house and found them dead in their home. Prior to his arrest on January 10th, all the way back in Chicago, police had released some grainy, blurry footage of a man, what looked like a man, walking in an alley nearby, and said it was a person of interest. The family then tried to detract from that and say, no, because I think they didn't want Michael McKee to be given a heads up that maybe he was the person of interest if he saw himself on the news. But it turns out they just didn't want to spook him. And so that's why the family sort of pulled away from that grainy video having anything to do with McKee. So it was 40 minutes after the Columbus PD went to the wrong home that a family friend discovered their bodies inside their home on the 1400 block of North 4th Street. January 5th was the date that they released that grainy video from the alley, and they didn't even say what alley it was. The relative that's been doing some interviews, he also made their wedding video, has said such things like Monique was very emotionally abused by Michael McKee. She talked about him threatening her life during the course of their marriage. And they were married all the way back in 2015. At the time, Monique's name was Monique Sabatursky. She married Michael McKee. I think he just received his medical license at the time. I could be wrong on the exact dates, but they married on August 22nd, 2015. And by May 2nd of 2017, Monique filed for divorce. Now, I've also read that they were only married or lived together for a short time, maybe 7 or 8 months. And at the time that she filed for the divorce, because I found some filings, not a lot, Monique lived in Westerville, Ohio, and Michael McKee lived in Roanoke, Virginia. And so while I can access the docket, I can't access any of the filings. Unlike Arkansas, where I can get almost absolutely everything. But that's the Charity Beallis case that we're going to talk about next. Michael McKee is a vascular surgeon who has licenses in many states. And I also have another article or another news piece for you that he was being sued for malpractice. And look, it happens a lot. It really doesn't mean anything. Doctors are sued all the time, all the time. And there is a lawyer that was looking to serve him in Nevada, and he sort of just disappeared. They couldn't serve him. It was taking them forever to find him. And this was months before the murders. Michael McKee is now 39. And police did trace his vehicle on surveillance footage because, of course, like good police work, they went around and got video surveillance from all of the neighbors. They found a vehicle. They traced the vehicle that was found in surveillance footage in the area of the Tepe home shortly before the homicides and leaving shortly after to Monique's ex-husband, Michael McKee. The vehicle was found in Rockford, Illinois, where McKee practiced medicine. I say practiced because it's likely that he will not be a doctor for much longer if he hasn't already given up his license, which I don't think he has because he hasn't even been extradited yet. Here's the mugshot of Michael McKee. Courtesy of the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office. Yes. Yes, Kim. As Ladybug says, and Monique's family gave the cops inside information about the threats he made to her. They kept that out of the media so as to not alert him. Correct. You are right. And so I think from the very beginning of these murders, he was like the number one suspect. Anthony said there's even a house across the street that has a Ring camera. Love from Tejas says, will you explain the wedding ring situation? What wedding ring situation are you talking about? I heard a rumor, and this is why I like to deal in court documents and facts and, actual interviews and receipts. Are you talking about somebody said, and again, I don't know where this came from, that Monique bought her own wedding ring when she married Michael McKee? Is that what you mean? So I don't have any receipts on that, and I'm not sure because I wasn't able to obtain their divorce documents. Right. So very strange. Waiting all this time to do what? Says Anne from Massachusetts. Get revenge? I don't know. They often say that the hardest time or the most dangerous time for a partner to leave, woman or man, in the case of DV, is the most dangerous time is when you're trying to leave. And she, from everything that I've read, had been divorced from him since 2017. Almost a decade. Did she still have contact with him? I don't know. I guess more is going to come out. Was he stalking her? Was he still, following her every move on every social media? Was he getting ramped up because maybe he was looking at her Facebook and she was posting happy family pictures and he never got over her and she was the one who got away? And of course, innocent until proven guilty, right? We have to say that always in every case, even when the person's been arrested and it looks like by all accounts they did it. Police have also said that they have found the weapon in this case yesterday. But let's take a look at the very few court documents that we could get a hold of. And this is the criminal complaint from Franklin County Municipal Court. Also, my screen is so much bigger, so that makes the font so much smaller, and it's so hard for me to read to you. But I'm going to do the best I can. All right, let's see if I can zoom in on this. Okay, so this is the complaint from Franklin Municipal Court. It is in Columbus, Ohio, and it's the complaint of Michael David McKee. filed January 10th, 2026. Complainant being duly sworn states that the above named defendant at Franklin County, Ohio, on or about the 30th day of December did knowing caused the death of another, to wit, Spencer Lewis Tepe, by means of shooting him with a firearm in violation of section 2903.02A. Complaining is the Columbus Police Department. And this was an arrest warrant that was issued on January 10th. I think he was quickly brought into custody. They found him at a Chick-fil-A. I'm sure Chick-fil-A doesn't want that product placement, but that was near the hospital, I think, or near his office where he worked was the Chick-fil-A, and that's where they found him. And I think by all accounts, he lived in a ritzy apartment building, right? Apartment complex. I did see an interview with a woman who lived in his building, and they're all in shock. That's the only document that leaked, but I'm sure there's a second document with Monique as the victim. So let's take a look at the probable cause affidavit. See if we can make this any bigger. And here it is in the Franklin County Municipal Court, City of Columbus, State of Ohio versus Michael David McKee. Affidavit in support of probable cause signed by the arresting officer, Russ Weiner. I, Russ Weiner, do hereby swear or affirm that I have the following cause to believe the individual named committed the alleged offenses for the reasons stated in this affidavit in support of probable cause. I have personal knowledge of the facts listed in this statement of facts as I was involved in the underlying investigation and/or arrest. And here's a summary statement of the facts of probable cause. One moment. There we go. On December 30th, 2025 at 9:57 a.m., Columbus Police patrol officers were dispatched to 1411 North 4th Street on a check on the well-being of Dr. Spencer Tepe, who had not shown up to work. Officers arrived and found Dr. Tepe and his wife, Monique Tepe, deceased inside, suffering from gunshot wounds. 2 minor children were found inside the home, unharmed. Columbus Fire Medic Number 7 responded and pronounced both victims deceased at 10:11 a.m. Columbus Police Homicide Unit, Team 2, was advised, responded, and initiated an investigation. During the subsequent investigation, detectives were able to identify a suspect through neighborhood video surveillance. This suspect was tracked to a vehicle which arrived just prior to the homicides and left shortly after the homicides. Detectives were able to identify this vehicle further and link it to Michael McKee. Detectives located the vehicle in Rockford, Illinois, and found evidence of McKee in possession of the vehicle prior to and after the homicides. Signature of affiant Detective Russell Weiner, badge number 1842. And this is signed by the clerk. So within 10 days, Columbus PD arrested him, brought him into custody, and now they are awaiting his extradition to Ohio. Let's take a look Let's see, I kind of want to figure out what order I want to do this in. Let's take a look at the press conference from yesterday with Columbus PD, and tell me if you're local. It seems to me, I really like this police chief of police. Let me know what you think about her, if she's got a good reputation. Okay, and this is from, I like to go to local news for my video that I show you. And so this is from WBNS 10, which I believe is a Columbus station. Let me know if I need to boost the audio or anything for you with all this new system. It's really freaking me out. I'm going to try and fix my image while we're watching this. This is from just yesterday.
Price is Right now will get you right back to the game.
They had to interrupt The Price is Right, and they were apologizing. They were apologizing for interrupting The Price is Right. They were like, we'll get right back to it. We'll get right back to The Price is Right. Don't worry. Here we go.
There's an update on a major case in Columbus. Columbus Division of Police providing an update. Elaine Bryant is at the podium.
About it. So just wanted to go over a little bit of the timeline. On December 30th, 2025.
Okay, this is Elaine Bryant. She is the Elaine Bryant. Weird, right? She's the chief of police in Columbus.
Just wanted to go over a little bit of the timeline. On December 30th, 2025, at approximately 10:04 a.m., Columbus Police Patrol officers were dispatched to the 1400 block of North 4th Street on a well-being check. Officers arrived at scene and located the 2 adult victims suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. We now know that they were identified as Mr. Spencer Tepe and Mrs. Monique Tepe. Their 2 small children were also found in the residence, physically unharmed. On January 10th, 2026, detectives filed warrants charging Michael D. McKee, 39, with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Spencer and Monique Tepe. Mr. McKee was arrested in Rockford, Illinois without incident. He's currently incarcerated in the Winnebago County Jail and awaiting extradition to Columbus. We believe at this point, we have the person responsible for the murders of Monique and Spencer Tepe in custody, and that person is Michael McKee. This is still an active and ongoing investigation. Detectives are still going through evidence, tips, and videos. We can't speak to all the specific details related to this case, so we don't want to jeopardize the ultimate goal of conviction. But what we can say, this was a targeted attack. This was a domestic violence related attack. As we know, McKee is the ex-husband of Monique Tepe. We can say that we have the suspect's vehicle on neighborhood video surveillance arriving just before the murders and leaving shortly after. Detectives were able to link this vehicle to McKee. The vehicle was located in Rockford, Illinois, and evidence was found that showed McKee in possession of the vehicle before and after the homicides. We can also say that multiple weapons were taken from the property of McKee, and there is a preliminary link from our NIBIN to one of the weapons that ties it to the homicides.
I like her a lot, Elaine Bryant. She's all business. She's all business. And what excellent police work. And now they say they think they have the weapon, a preliminary weapon, but she sounds pretty sure. And I don't think she would say that unless she was pretty sure.
I want to say that our detectives work around the clock to be able to solve this case. But it's equally important to know that while this is gaining national attention, we work around the clock to solve all of our homicide cases. I'd like to bring the mayor up now to have him say a few words.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you all for joining us this morning. I want to thank Chief Bryant, the women and men of
This is the mayor. I couldn't understand what she said his name was. If you know the mayor's name, let me know.
the Homicide Division who have done an incredible job on this case and so many other cases, 100 cases solved in 2025 because of their tireless work and professionalism and tips and information from the community that helped us achieve such incredible solve rates. I want to thank also members of the press for sharing timely information, including the video footage of the person of interest that we know now is Mr. McKee. Members of the community for supporting CPD's investigation and for continuing to pray and support the Tepe family, particularly these little children. Just want to take a moment to express gratitude, grief, and resolve, not only for myself, but for the entire Columbus community. Grateful to the Division of Police for their professionalism and persistence, and for their tireless work and collaboration that led to this arrest. You followed the facts and evaluated every credible lead with intentionality, integrity, and care for the victims and their families. I also want to thank members of the community who stepped forward with video footage and tips.
Thank you.
Tracy Townsend and Colin Dorsey here. We have been.
Thank you. His name is Andrew Ginther. Thank you. Anthony from Ohio is going to fill us in on all the details.
Bringing you live coverage of Elaine Bryant and Andrew Ginther talking about the Tepe murders. We are covering this because it has gained national attention. We're going to take our coverage over onto 10 TV Plus.
Right. That's free to download right now.
Over on.
From happening in the first.
Why? Oh, okay. I guess the video is going to continue though.
Free, but for now, our Price is Right viewers will send you back to regular programming.
And our residents.
Because some people really want to watch The Price is Right.
I pray this collaboration will help us prevent violent crime from happening in the first place. But it's also a powerful, powerful tool for solving crime when it does occur. The tips that were submitted in this case mattered. And I'm grateful to the residents and businesses who shared information. As Chief described, this was a targeted domestic violence attack that resulted in the deaths of 2 people and irreparably changed the lives of their children, families, colleagues, and friends. Our hearts remain with Spencer and Monique, their loved ones, and especially the children impacted by this unimaginable loss. As this case now moves through the criminal justice process, we'll continue to respect this investigation and allow investigators and prosecutors to do their work. As Chief said, we will not do or say anything that will compromise the likelihood of a conviction. One thing we can still offer this family is the best possible chance at a conviction and justice for this unspeakable crime. We could also continue to lift up this family in our thoughts and prayers. I will continue to lift up every one of the 84 families that lost a loved one due to violence in 2025. I know the Chief and the Division of Police will too, in their thoughts and their actions. I know this case has taken on national interest, but I want to tell each of these families, these 84 families, CPD pursues every case with the same intensity, commitment, and resolve. Thank you all for being here.
And that's the way a press conference should be done. That's a model press conference right there. Showing that they work on each and every homicide, talking about how many there were that year. And it instills confidence, and good on them, because we've been in Massachusetts for far too long, my friends, I think.
We'll take any questions at this time.
Chief, can you comment on a motive in this case? I mean, why did he allegedly kill Monique and Spencer and also leave the children alive?
Can you comment on a motive in this case, and why would he leave the children alive? Can you guys hear the questions? Because I'll repeat them as I often do. A lot of people can't hear them.
At this time, we cannot comment on the motive. Again, part of the investigation.
Did you find any other evidence in this home in Lincoln Park?
Did you find any other evidence in this home in Lincoln Park?
What I can tell you is that we did search his property and we have evidence, but I can't speak to any specific evidence.
You said there were no signs.
Can you tell us which police agency arrested him and where he was taken into custody in Rockford?
Sure. This case is a great example of partnerships. So our partners with Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, federal agents, took him into custody very close to his place of employment.
What can you tell us about McKee's whereabouts between the day of the crime and the day he was picked up?
Part of the investigation, unfortunately, as we talked about, we're not able to share specific.
She wants to know about the demeanor, his demeanor between the murders and the time he was picked up.
Specifics, but what we can tell you is that we have evidence that he was there during the time of the actual homicides.
You said there were no signs of forced entry. Are you able to say any more about how he got into the house?
Unfortunately, we're not able to talk about that at this moment.
Not going to talk about it.
Any indication he had interactions with the kids, or the kids may have seen or heard?
Did he have any interactions with the kids, or did the kids see or hear anything at this point? Do you have any information on that?
Anything at this point?
We don't have that information. Again, part of the investigation, there's just certain things we can't talk about.
Neighbors had said that they had seen McKee in the neighborhood and in front of the Tepe home days before the homicide. Can you confirm that?
At this time, we're unable to talk about specific information, but again, when we get additional information, we'll be more happy to share it to the public.
I know this is ongoing investigation. I don't know if you can say this, but obviously they were divorced. Are you able to say anything about their relationship after that divorce? It was in 2017. Were they civil? I know he had a second wife as well.
Again, there is.
Okay. This reporter is saying, I know he had a second wife as well. That's the first I heard that. Did anybody hear that already? Hold on. I'm going to take that back a moment. She said, are you able to say anything about their relationship after their divorce? Were they civil? I want to know if they've been having contact, or if he's been stalking her, if they've seized his electronics and they're going to go through his electronics with a fine tooth comb to see if he was, Googling her every day and going through her Facebook posts every single day and her Instagram posts and all of her socials. But this reporter says, I know that he had a second wife. So he was married. He is he's currently married. Okay.
Say anything about their relationship after that divorce? It was in 2017. Were they civil? I know he had a second wife as well.
Again, there is the investigation is still ongoing. Just understand, we're still collecting information. We're still going through a lot of evidence, and there's just some things that we can't speak to right now.
Can you talk about the extradition? Will you be going to Rockford and pick him up, and when will that happen?
I'll let you speak to that.
Sure. We have policy related to extraditions. Felony warrants out of state are primarily handled by extradition companies. And so the determination of whether or not it will be detectives from Columbus or an outside entity, likely an outside entity, but the logistics are being worked out as we speak.
Any idea when that will happen?
I don't know when that will happen.
What kind of
I've heard it's going to be not until at least next week. It takes a long time to extradite. Does anybody remember Kimberly Singler? She was the Colorado Springs mom who took the lives of her two children and then fled to the UK. It took 2 years. I mean, obviously that's international extradition, but it took 2 years to have her extradited back. And I also remember another case was a Shanna Gardner that it took a very long time to get her extradited from, I think she was she living in Washington State? To get her extradited to Florida it took a very long time. Thank you. Jana said the one that got away, she ended it with him. That's why it's a control thing. Maybe. Somebody said he's not married. He did remarry 15 days after the divorce, but that ended a few years later. Okay, so while it sounds like it's a very short time after the divorce, remember she filed for divorce in 2015. And sometimes it takes a really long time to finalize the divorce. I'm sorry, she filed in 2017. Monique did. They were married August 2015. She filed in May of 2017. It wasn't granted until June of 2017. But I think what I read was they had only lived together for something like 7 months, which would have brought it into 2016. So he could have been with that other woman for longer than just 15 days. I know it sounds crazy when you say it, but if he was re-divorced, so he got a fast divorce. Wrong Michael McKee, see? Wrong Michael McKee. This is why I need court documents on stuff like this. So the reporter might have it wrong. Let's wait until we get actual receipts and confirmation.
Weapons did you find in his home?
What kind of weapons did you find in his home?
We can't speak to specific weapons, but we did recover multiple weapons from the home, from his property.
How quickly was McKee a suspect? I know that family told us they pretty much assumed that he was behind this crime.
What I can tell you is that every piece of evidence, every tip that we received, we immediately began to investigate it. So I can't give you a specific timeline, but any information that came in was immediately evaluated and investigated.
Are you able to say about how many tips you received? Obviously, people became really attached to this case.
Do you know specific numbers?
While we don't have an exact number of the amount of tips that came in, because some of them were the same or similar. So it was numerous, and it was from multiple sources, which was greatly appreciated from the community, the media, the past individuals that were knowledgeable and familiar with the family, and then the residents of the area, which ultimately led us to this day right now.
Do you believe that's him in that video? Sorry.
We know digital forensics and DNA play a big role in investigations these days, but it doesn't happen in 60 minutes with commercial breaks. Is there any sense of the timeline of when some of that information will become available to you guys through that testing?
This report is asking about DNA testing and forensic testing, and she knows it doesn't take an hour to solve a crime like in Law and Order, so she wants to know how long it's going to take.
We're continuously looking for information, waiting for information. Unfortunately, we can't give you a specific timeline, but we're continuously working to get that information in.
The family mentioned that Monique previously said that he had been abusive towards her in the past. Was there any evidence or indication of that prior to?
The family said that he had been abusive to her in the past. Was there any evidence of that? The only thing that I know that I heard directly from Spencer's sister's husband is that he had said he was emotionally abusive and may have threatened to kill her. But this reporter is saying that the family said that he was physically abusive. Well, I guess she didn't say physically. She just said abusive. Hold on.
We can't give you a specific timeline, but we're continuously working to get that information in.
The family mentioned that Monique previously said that he had been abusive towards her in the past. Was there any evidence or indication of that prior to this incident?
What I can tell you is that we did not have any reports, or we did not have any information related to any type of incidents regarding the ex-husband and Monique.
Can you tell us if McKee and Mrs. Tepe had any contact leading up to this incident, months, weeks?
Any stalking concerns there?
Again,
Any stalking concerns, any contacts, and any contact in the weeks leading up to? That's what I'm very curious about too. But she's gonna keep it close to the vest for now, as she should.
What we can share with you, we are sharing with you. There are some things that we can't share for investigative purposes, but what I can tell you again is that we didn't have any reports or anything linked to that specific location as it relates to the ex-husband and Monique Tepe.
Do you believe he's the person in the video that you shared the person of interest?
We do.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So they're saying that that was him in the video? Hold on.
Ex-husband and Monique Tepe.
Do you believe he's the person in the video that you shared
Do you believe that he's the person in the video that you shared, the person of interest in the alleyway?
the person of interest?
We do.
Okay, so they do.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's interesting. So that was from yesterday.
Right, and from Columbus Division of Police Chief Elaine Bryant. The big headline there is that they did find multiple weapons, they say, from Michael McKee's property there in Chicago.
Right. And what we don't know are the kinds of weapons. That was something that Chief Bryant said that's still part of the investigation. But one thing that she did talk about is that one of the weapons that they obtained from that did come back in a NIBIN report. And that is the one that they believe could be tied to that. Now, the NIBIN system, that is the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. That's been around now for almost 30 years.
And so they found that. The other point that we wanted to...
That's interesting. It was a NIBIN.
A highlight is the issue of extradition, because as you know, as we've reported, and you were reporting this morning over by the corrections facility, they're talking about how and when they're going to bring McKee back.
Right. And as you heard there, we did get a bit of an update on how and when that could happen. The thing is, we still don't know the how. That was not an answer we did get today, but we did get some clarification on the process in which he would be back here. CPD has a policy on how they transport felony assault charge or felony charged suspects in these cases. It sounds like this will likely be outsourced to a private transport company who will bring him back from Rockford, and that is when he would face charges here in Franklin County, because Monday, when he appeared in that Winnebago County Circuit Court, that's when he waived his extradition, which means he will come back to face those charges in Franklin County. We are kind of in that holding pattern. We don't know when.
Here's a map if you can come to your screen safely and you're not driving your 18-wheeler down the highway or on scaffolding. Here's a map of how far away these two locations were. Here's where McKee was arrested on the left side of your screen in Illinois. And here is where the murders occurred in Ohio. So I think it's like a 12-hour drive maybe. And he had his car with him, so he drove there. Jesus.
He'll get back. That's really the next step in all of this.
And in addition to what they could talk about in terms of the police, the other interesting fact is that the mayor of Columbus talked about the issue of solving these kinds of crimes. In fact, that they're 84 and that they spend 24 hours there working on all of these cases. And I was struck by the fact that he said tips mattered. This hearing from the community,
tips matter.
Video that we were showing our viewers here on 10 TV Plus.
If you see something, say something. Tips matter.
On 10 TV of the person of interest.
Right. And when we talk about the tips and the video that came into play of this, of course, we know that video that Columbus police released back on the 5th. That is what they really say played a big part in that. That's that car that they say was there before and after that call. They could see leaving in that video, and that is the car that they tracked all the way back to Rockford, Illinois, that was registered to McKee's name.
All right. So we have covered the extradition. We're still waiting for some specifics on that. Perhaps you were unfamiliar with this, but they have extradition companies. That's who they're going to work with.
Okay.
Weapons, multiple weapons were taken from McKee's property. They are calling this a targeted attack, a domestic violence related attack. Lots of things to uncover as they are working this. We are going to continue to.
Okay, so they're calling it a DV related attack. Let's take a look at his court appearance from the 12th. Very short. And so I was going to cover it live and then I didn't because something came up. And then it took, it's so short, it was only 2 minutes. Here we go. He's got a public defender, and this was in Illinois. This is from the 12th. Virtual juror says Rockford, Illinois to Columbus, Ohio is a 7 to 9 hours drive, depending on the location and the traffic, of course. Oh, thank you for the tulips are falling apart. I know they're so pretty, but I think they're at the end of their lifespan. But I've had them for at least a week. If anybody has a Lidl near you, it's like a discount supermarket. LIDL is the way that you spell it. If you have one near you, they have the best flowers and they're very inexpensive. I think I paid like $6 for a dozen tulips. So I bought 2 and they last a long time. All right, here you go. If I'm unfrozen for you, refresh your browser or go back and come back in. It could be a YouTube issue today. Here we go. This was the court appearance on the 12th. There he is. Vascular surgeon, Dr. Michael McKee, has been arrested for the murders of Spencer and Monique Tepe. In his mustard-colored, they look like scrubs. I bet he wishes he was wearing scrubs instead of a jumpsuit. Here you go. property of Winnebago County.
Turd Ferguson, for the entities present in custody.
Your name, sir, for the record? Michael McKee. Have you had a chance to speak with him?
I think I need to boost the volume for you. Yeah, hold on.
Yes, Your Honor. Turd Ferguson, for the entities present in custody.
Your name, sir, for the record? Michael McKee. Have you had a chance to speak with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your position at this time?
Yes, at this time, Your Honor, on behalf of Mr. McKee, I will assert his right to counsel. I will assert his right to remain silent. And Mr. McKee believes that the most expeditious manner in which he may defend himself against the charges pending in Ohio and to plead not guilty would be to waive his right to an extradition hearing and to have a governor's warrant and to agree to his immediate transportation to Ohio.
Understood, thank you. We will set this matter then for 2 o'clock on Monday for status on the transfer.
Thank you.
Anything else we can do today?
That would be so.
And that's it. That's Judge Donald Shriver. This is in Winnebago County, Illinois. He's waiving his extradition hearing, which means he doesn't want a hearing. He's agreeing to go back to Ohio to face the music and the charges. But it takes time. The governor has to issue a warrant, and then they have to use a company to extradite him and get him back there. Yeah, I think we said it's not 12 hours. It's 7 to 9 hours. There you go. This Monday, right, but it'll still be
Thanks, everyone.
in Illinois, unless they don't think he's going to get extradited by Monday. All three of them went to the Ohio State University, right? Isn't that where Monique met Spencer? Or is that where Monique met Michael? Tell me. Let me see if it says on the complaint how tall he is. Because he does look very tall to me. Maybe on his 6'1". He's 6'1", so he's not tall. Everyone else is just, I mean, that's tall, but it's not super tall. It's not 6'7" or anything. Let's take a look. There's a truck backing up outside my house and it's beeping. Can you hear it? Oh, please. Let's take a look at the interview with the brother-in-law. Short one. But first, here's a story from
the address.
Oops. All right, this is from WSYX ABC 6. And this is talking about the attorney from Nevada who was trying to find him to serve him with the malpractice lawsuit. And they couldn't find him because the address that they had for him didn't exist. Check this out.
The address that was given to us by the surgery group that he worked for turned out to be a fake address. It was an address that doesn't exist.
A search for a doctor now accused in connection with a high-profile double murder right here in Columbus. All of it months before police say he shot and killed his ex-wife and her new husband. It's exclusive information we're uncovering tonight. We're talking nearly a dozen failed attempts to serve surgeon Michael McKee with a malpractice lawsuit out of Nevada. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Rodney Dunnigan.
And I'm Isabel. The alleged killer. She met Spencer online and Michael McKee in college at the Ohio State University.
Hansen, the attorney who filed that lawsuit, says recent attempts led to fake addresses, questionable state-issued phone numbers, and claims that Dr. McKee had just disappeared. Investigator Lisa Rontola joins us live in studio to break down her findings. Lisa?
Well, months before, police say vascular surgeon Michael McKee killed his ex-wife and her new husband in their Wineland Park home. He was added to a malpractice lawsuit out of Nevada. The lawyer who filed that suit says the normal process to serve Dr. McKee with that suit became very abnormal. In this exclusive interview, Las Vegas lawyer Dan Laird tells me Dr. McKee seemed to have vanished.
Months before walking into a Chicago area courtroom this week, arrested for the Columbus murders of his ex-wife and her new husband.
How serious can these cases be?
They can be very serious.
Vascular surgeon Michael McKee was added to a malpractice lawsuit out of Las Vegas, which claims he failed to train a physician's assistant who injured a patient at Las Vegas Surgical Associates LLP in 2023.
And also not uncommon. Doctors get sued all the time. And oftentimes when you file a malpractice case, ask me how I know, because I did it for over 30 years, you sue every single doctor that the patient came in contact with, whether they worked at the hospital and they touched the patient, and then you sort it out later where the liability is. But it's just weird that the address that they had for service of process on him didn't even exist. Very strange.
Las Vegas lawyer Dan Laird filed the case.
Some physicians who are sued for the first time take it very personally and heavily, and it can be devastating.
But Laird can't say how Dr. McKee responded. Since September of last year, McKee was unable to be found.
Dr. McKee almost really became a phantom, a ghost, if you will.
That's what it seemed like.
In this declaration of due diligence filed with Nevada's Clark County District Court, Laird's process server lists at least 9 times of trying to track down Dr. McKee. He said McKee's address provided by the medical group doesn't exist.
There is no such street. There is no such address.
McKee's phone number listed with the Nevada Medical Board led to a fax tone from a fax machine. In October, Laird's team reached out to the other surgeons listed in the case, McKee's former colleagues, for the vascular surgeon's current contact.
What did Dr. Beallis say?
He said he has no idea where Dr. Michael McKee is now, said he just disappeared.
Don't they leave some sort of contact?
So they
I mean, they're making this out to be like much bigger deal than it might be. It might be like nothing, but they do not. I just want to correct this, St. Elmo. Sorry, doctors do not settle most cases. Absolutely not. Doctors are one of the very few professional liability policies of insurance who have to consent to any and all settlements because they don't want it on their record. And so it is very, very rare that doctors consent to settle cases. And most medical malpractice cases go all the way to trial. And that is why not a lot of firms handle medical malpractice cases as plaintiffs, because they go the distance. They're not easy settlements at all. So I just want to correct the record there. Based on my own personal experience of more than 30 years handling those types of cases, doctors don't like to consent. They want to take it to the mat. It affects their reputation. It affects their insurance rates, which are already through the roof. I remember my OBGYN, who's a good friend, being that he's delivered 5 of my babies, was telling me many OBGYNs, many doctors are selling their practices now to big hospitals. Do you notice that? Because they just can't keep up with the policy premiums. And this had to be maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. His malpractice premiums as an OBGYN were in excess of $250,000 a year. $250,000 a year. And that's why you see so many doctors selling their practices, and now they're under an umbrella of a hospital or an organization. Out here in New York, it's Northwell is taking over every doctor's practice, it seems. And if that was 15 years ago and his premiums were $250,000 a year, it's insane. And doctors don't make as much money as you think, because under the agreements with insurance companies, if you have insurance and you have, let's say, a spinal surgery and your doctor bills $15,000 for the surgery, sometimes the carrier will pay something like $1,500 to the doctor. It's insane. It's insane.
Tend to be highly responsible people. They're not the kind of people who just disappear suddenly. And this was very surprising to us.
With more dead ends on social media like Facebook and LinkedIn, Laird tracked McKee to Rockford, Illinois in November. Repeated phone calls were not answered or returned. He did not know McKee's ex-wife Monique Tepe and her new husband Spencer were shot and killed in their Columbus home in December. And McKee was charged in both murders this month. I told him that this week.
Shocking. If you listed out the people who would likely be to be accused of committing a double homicide, a fully trained vascular surgeon would be at the bottom of my list.
A judge granted the declaration of due diligence in the malpractice case in October. That means McKee can now be served in the malpractice lawsuit with a notice filed in the newspaper. This is only the second time in 12 years. Lawyer Dan Laird tells me he's had to do this. I did try to call the medical group where Dr. McKee worked in Nevada. No one called me back. On your side, I'm investigator Lisa Rontola.
Thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you, Channel 6. I want to show you, I want to show you the wedding video that Monique and, or a little tiny portion of it, that Monique and Spencer's brother-in-law did. He's a filmmaker, he's a videographer, and he did the video of their wedding, and just a little tiny portion. And I'm going to link the entire video below if you'd like to watch it. It's really beautiful. It's really touching. They seem to be very much in love. And also I'm going to link in the show notes below the GoFundMe for the children. There's a GoFundMe. Here we go. His name is Rob Misla. That is the brother-in-law who did this video. And this is heartbreaking to watch, but I think everyone should watch it.
What can I say? From day one, I knew you were something special. I had quite a journey to get to you. Countless bad bumble dates, wrong relationships, and waterfalls of tears.
That's telling, isn't it? Bad bumble dates, a bad relationship, and lots of tears. Listen, she's telling us everything. If you think I'm frozen, refresh your browser or go out and come back in, because I think it's a YouTube issue today, or maybe a StreamYard issue. But on my end, it looks okay. And on a lot of people's ends, it looks okay. So let's just listen to this one more time.
Dates, what can I say? From day one, I knew you were something special. I had quite a journey to get to you. Countless bad bumble dates, wrong relationships, and waterfalls of tears. But it was worth every cringing second because it led me to you. Throughout all of this, I knew that God was guiding me to my person, and that when I met him, it would be the most magical thing ever. And boy, is that an understatement. I finally found my lobster, and it honestly couldn't be a person with a more beautiful heart. I will love you forever, and I'm so lucky to be Mrs. Tepe.
By the power vested in me by the Universal Life Church and by the state of Ohio, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Then there's music, which I can't play, but how sad. I finally found my lobster. Isn't that heartbreaking? I'm going to link the full video below so that Rob Misla can get lots of views on it. And I'm going to cut and paste the Give, Send, Go to see. Well, let me see how much has been raised so far for the children. It's actually a GoFundMe. They've raised $221,410. I know, she did have the best smile, right? So sad. Here is Rob Misla, the brother-in-law who made that video, talking to Channel 6.
She just had to get away from him.
Rob Misla, the brother-in-law of Monique and Spencer Tepe, now speaking out about the man accused of killing the couple. Misla says Monique told him her ex-husband, Dr. Michael McKee, was emotionally abusive.
Myself and many others were well aware of kind of the negative impact that he had on her. She was willing to do anything to get out of there.
McKee is charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder. Investigators say he shot and killed the couple last month.
Oh, lobsters mate for life. Thank you for explaining that to me. One Sly Angel 211. Thank you so much. I've also read, even though I haven't seen the divorce documents myself, that she just gave up everything just to get away from him. You know, she gave him everything. She's like, take it all. I don't want anything. And it was a very short marriage, so they might have not have had any assets together. I don't know why.
Michael McKee.
Divorce documents show Monique and McKee's marriage was brief. They married in 2015 and split abruptly in 2017, citing they were incompatible. Monique speaking about her past relationships in her wedding vows to Spencer.
From day one, I knew you were something special. I had quite a journey to get to you.
Okay, we just watched that, so let's fast forward through that and listen to what Rob has to say.
From not just us, want justice.
Every cringing second because it led me to you.
We just want justice. We want this person that took so much from not just us as a family, but so many more people, and obviously the kids especially. We want this person to pay for what they did.
On your side, Terry Sullivan, ABC 6 News.
Thank you for watching the ABC 6 News YouTube channel.
He's given more in-depth interviews on other stations, but I wouldn't play somebody else's work. I have the docket. But I can't access the filings, so it doesn't really tell me very much. And because I want to cover Charity Beallis today as well, I want to move on in a moment. Hold on one second. Okay, I pasted into the show notes below this video the GoFundMe for the Tepe children. You may have to refresh your browser for it to populate for you. Beautiful and sad. And we're going to see what happens and what evidence they have against Michael McKee. And as always, innocent until proven guilty, but we'll see what happens. Hi, Ms. Bouquet. Not one I can watch with Harrison when he gets home, but here until then, thank you so much for watching from across the pond. Charlie in Australia says, I currently have 2 medical specialists arguing with each other over my treatment. Meanwhile, I have to suffer in silence. I'm so sorry that that's happening to you. I'm so sorry that that's happening to you. And I'm sending you all the healing vibes and all of the good luck in communicating with your doctors. Listen, nobody knows your body better than you do, so speak up. You have to be your own best advocate for your health care. Bethany wants to know, have you been watching the Paul Canero case? Thoughts on the judge and his demeanor? Thank you for your knowledge and covering all the things. We did the openings together. That's the only part that we have, that I've watched. I haven't gone back and watched any of the other coverage. If you have certain witnesses that you want to watch together, let me know. And so I can't opine on that quite yet. I've had a very, very busy life past couple days. The youngest got into the college of her choice, and it is awesome. So congratulations, and thank you for praying for her, because she did it and she's very happy. And that is one more box that we can tick off the list of all the things that this mother of five has to do. Thank you so much, Bethany. Also, I want to know if you guys want to cover any of the Brendan Banfield trial, because we did cover that a little bit pre-trial. Maybe we should watch the openings. Maybe that should be our thing. Maybe we should watch openings of all the trials that are coming up, and then we can compare styles of openings. That could be our thing. What openings work, what openings don't work. Let me know what you think. Yeah, all I'm going to say about it is aloha, Ohana. That's all I'm going to say. So if you're out there from where you think I'm hinting at where she will be going to college next year, aloha, Ohana. Gen X 1968 gifted 5 memberships. You know why? Because you guys are the most generous chat on the internet, the absolute most generous chat. And welcome to all 5 new members. I think you're going to like it here. Marcy's Lies says, love the variety, Melanie. Never bored. Never bored. Good. I'm glad. Laura says, why do they refer to the murdered as suffering from gunshot wounds? Because they're talking about the manner of death, right? The manner of death is gunshot wounds. And that's all that we know at that time. And so I know it sounds weird because they're not suffering. They're gone, if that's where you're going with that. But that is the cause of death. Gunshot wounds. And so there's that. Okay. Moving on. I think that's pretty much all we know so far. If there's anything else that you want to talk about the Tepes, let me know. I mean, People Magazine has done a whole bunch of articles about it. It's like they try and take one little piece of information and make it into a whole giant article. Apparently, the family of mostly Spencer. I don't think I've heard anything from Monique's family. Have you heard anything from Monique's family about her relationship with McKee and what it was like? Because the only person I've seen speaking out is Rob Misla, the one that we just watched, and said that he was very emotionally abusive to her, to the point that it changed her as a person, that she was that she just wanted to get away from him. And then I read somewhere else that he also said that McKee had threatened her life during the course of their marriage. I don't know that there was any court records on TV. I don't know if there were any other proceedings, but that's all we know at the current moment. Let me know if you know anything else. Yeah, they were only married for like 7 months. Yeah, not much out there. Nothing from Monique's family at all, right? And the case has gotten so much national attention. So much national attention. It might be a StreamYard issue, actually, because now StreamYard says that I've been live for 4 hours and 13 minutes. If you think I'm frozen, we have not been live for 4 hours and 13 minutes. I can tell you that. So it is what it is. And that's annoying. Maybe it's still Verizon acting up. YouTube is acting up. It's always all the things. We just have to work through it. We just have to power through. The only way out is through. The only way out is through, right? Here's a wedding picture. Well, all right, let's look at one more thing. The wedding picture of Monique and Michael McKee. Because somebody just said in the chat I know. It's the problem with StreamYard KBDs. There's no alternative. There's no alternative. I don't know how to use OBS. Please, you're lucky that I could even run this with my new powerful computer. Somebody said that the body language in her wedding photos with Michael say so much. Well, let's take a look at one. I have one. And here it is. You know, you think you marry a doctor and it's going to be all like sunshine and rainbows, right? All sunshine and rainbows. Now this doctor is under arrest for the murder of Monique and her husband, Spencer Tepe. Take note of his jaw, says Lady Bird. Stina says, I wonder if it's such a big deal because it's a DV murder years later. It's scary for women. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can never really get away. I mean, this guy was obsessed, maybe. If I can't have you, nobody will. I don't want you to be happy because you left me. It's crazy. And yet it's not that uncommon, right? Oi, marry a doctor. You think your life is going to be sunshine and rainbows. Not so much. Not so much either for Charity Beallis. Tell me, if you have never heard of the Charity Beallis case, except from me maybe the other day, put a 1 in the chat. This is an Arkansas case. Charity Beallis and her 6-year-old twins, boy-girl twins, were found also dead of gunshot wounds on December 2nd of 2025 in their Bonanza, Arkansas mansion. And there's been no arrests in that case. And there's so much information. I fell into the rabbit hole last night, call me Alice, as I often say, call me Alice. I was blown away by the amount of information that I was able to find about Charity Beallis and her marriage to Dr. Randy Beallis. And he goes by Randy. And what's a little bit misleading is that sometimes in some of the court records in Arkansas, he's under Randall Beallis. Sometimes it's Randy Beallis. Charity Beallis, 40 years old, was found shot dead with her beautiful 6-year-old twins, who are also in this picture, courtesy of Facebook, in their Arkansas mansion on December 2nd, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. Coincidentally, the day after her final divorce hearing from Dr. Randall Beallis. Coincidentally or not so much. Here's a picture of their home. She was living in the home at the time. Bonanza, Arkansas, 39 acres. Dr. Randy Beallis was married 4 times. Wife number 1, also a doctor. Her name is Donna. Wife number 2, Shauna Beallis, died of alleged suicide back in 2012. Charity Beallis was Dr. Randy Beallis's 3rd and 4th wife. They were married twice. They were married twice. I went through many court files on this last night, read every single document I could get my hands on, and here's what I know. The divorce decree had not yet been signed when Charity died. They had a final divorce hearing the day before on the 1st of December. Charity is murdered on the 2nd, but the divorce decree was not signed. What did Dr. Randy Beallis' lawyers do? The next day, they filed a motion in court to throw out the divorce case because she is no longer living. Court documents also show that on February 16th of 2025, Charity Beallis' husband, Dr. Randall Beallis, Randy Randall, he goes by different names. I don't think he was actually arrested on that day. February 16th, 2025, Randall Beallis allegedly strangled Charity in front of her children at their Bonanza home. He was arrested on a couple of felonies. Charity then filed for divorce on March 5th of 2025. And this is all in Sebastian County, Arkansas. In October of 2025, Randy Beallis took a plea to the DV charges. He got a 1-year suspended sentence and a $1,500 fine. And he was able to pay that in installments, $140 a month beginning on November 1st of 2025. He had to attend a domestic DV program and show completion to Sebastian County by May 1 of 2026. And I wonder if he's still going to be forced to complete that. He was arrested before the divorce. Yeah, so those events happened in February. She filed in March 2025. And by December, she's brutally gunned down with her twins. No arrests. But it gets even weirder. Because she also has a son from a prior relationship. He's currently 24 years old. His name is John Randall Powell. And I found some court records going all the way back to 2020. John Randall, at the time, was 17 years old. He was asking to be, I would say emancipated, asking to be considered an adult because he was 17, soon to turn 18. He was living at the time with the couple in Bonanza, and they were babies, I guess, at the time. The twins. And John Randall Powell alleged that on the 14th day of May of 2020, Charity Beallis and Randy Beallis took a knife or an ice pick and slashed and ruined his tires on his Ford F-150 vehicle, and that there was video of this incident. He wanted the judge to consider him an adult and give him his truck back and money for the damages so that he could replace the tires. And the judge actually granted that and told them that they had to replace his tires and give him his truck back. And then he went to live with his grandfather. I also found a restraining order that was filed in 2015 by Charity Beallis against her stepmother, Sonia Powell, which eventually had to be amended because of the fact that her son, John Randall Powell, went to live with his grandfather, who was married to the stepmother. And originally, Charity Beallis filed the restraining order on behalf of both of them. The judge did amend the order so that the stepmother didn't have to move out. And then it gets weirder because on December 3rd, which was the day after the death of Charity and her twins, Circuit Judge Shannon Blatt, who was the judge on the divorce case, received a call from Charity's father. His name is Randy Powell. He's been out there a lot giving interviews. On December 3rd, the judge says that she received a call from Charity's father, Randy Powell, and the judge wrote a letter to two attorneys in the case and said, this is a quote from the letter. Specifically, Mr. Powell stated that the judge might as well have pulled the trigger herself and that the judge essentially killed his daughter and grandchildren, according to the letter. Mr. Powell also stated that the court has blood on her hands and asked if the court was still going to keep him from his grandchildren. The son, John Randall Powell, filed with his attorneys because the judge quickly rubber-stamped the divorce, dismissed. The son asked the judge to reopen the divorce because it had not yet been signed and finalized, and he, as her only heir, would be entitled to inherit whatever it is that she had. And the judge said no. Too late, too bad, so sad. And then it gets even weirder because the 2012 alleged suicide of what would be Randy's second wife in 2012, that case was reopened because Charity's father said that Charity told him that she was there when Shauna Beallis was killed and that she pulled the trigger. He then walked that back and said, no, I didn't say that. I said that she knew who did it. Let's take a look. Actually, no, because I would prefer to redact this, but I have the obituary of Shauna Jeanette Graham Beallis, which reads as follows. And that is Saturday, January 7th of 2012. Shauna Jeanette Graham Beallis, 34, of Fort Smith, Arkansas, passed away Thursday, January 5th, 2012, in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Shauna was born August 9th, 1977 in Big Springs, Texas, and then it names her parents, which I'm not going to name because there's so many crazy people out there that will try and contact these people. She was a licensed practical nurse. Shauna was a loving mother, precious daughter, and sister. She always had fun living life. I don't think she had any children with Randy Beallis. Survivors include her daughter. She had one daughter with a different last name than Beallis, so that was her from a prior marriage. Dr. Randy Beallis and stepchildren. 1, 2, 3 stepchildren of Randy Beallis. So Randy must have had 3 children with his first wife, Donna, who is still living. She's a doctor too. And I believe that initially, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know a lot of you are local to the Arkansas scene, it was ruled a suicide by gunshot. Arkansas again. Yep. I'm going to close some of these windows on my computer because it's getting so drafty in here. Let's take a look at the initial. Let's close some of these windows. This is the initial press release from the Sebastian County Sheriff's Office on December 4th of 2025. They posted this on Facebook. December 4th, 2025, Sebastian County Sheriff's Office media release referencing the death investigation in Bonanza, Arkansas. Captain P. Peevehouse. On December 3rd, 2025, at around 9:30 a.m., Sebastian County Sheriff's Office dispatch received a call about a welfare check on the occupants of a residence in the 1100 block of First Avenue in Bonanza. Bonanza PD was given the call as the address in their city limits. SCSO deputies also went on the call with Bonanza PD to assist. Law enforcement could not get any response from the residents and continued to investigate. They were able to enter the home with the assistance of 2 workers at the home. Upon entering the home, they found 3 deceased individuals, a woman and 2 deceased children. It was apparent that the 3 had gunshot wounds. The woman was identified as Charity Beallis, 40. The children's identity is not being released. All 3 have been sent to the Arkansas Crime Lab in Little Rock for autopsy to determine exact cause of death. SCSO CID is investigating the matter. Search warrants have been written and executed, with more search warrants anticipated during the investigation. Interviews have taken place with more anticipated. Information is still being gathered. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to call FSSO at 479-783-1051. That was the initial press release from the sheriff's office. Now, listen to this. Oh, please. What? I'm hearing something, but I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, there it is. Go away. Charity's family wanted to bury Charity and her children together, but a judge ruled that the remains of the twins were going to be released to Dr. Randy Beallis. Listen to this.
Before the holidays. She and her 2 children were found dead in their Bonanza home earlier this month. A Sebastian County judge ruled that the state crime lab can release Charity Beallis's remains to her adult son for burial. The judge ruled the remains of the 2 children will be released to their father, Randall Beallis. The couple were in the midst of a divorce when Charity and the children were found dead. Charity Beallis's son has asked their divorce be finalized, while her husband asked the court to dismiss it. And the Sebastian County Domestic Relations Division of the court released an order today, too, saying it does not have jurisdiction to rule on these pending motions regarding that divorce.
Because the judge dismissed the divorce case on motion from Dr. Beallis's attorney, and refused to reopen it. I know. It's Arkansas. Welcome to Arkansas. It's horrific. I'm outraged by this case, and I read up on it so much last night. Take a look at the family speaking out, Charity Beallis's family speaking out. And this is published by 40/29 News. I'm not sure where they're located. Maybe Little Rock, Northwest Arkansas, and the River Valley. And this was published on December 8th, 2025. Let me know if you can hear it.
Authorities are investigating after a mother and her 2 young children were found shot to death inside a home in Bonanza.
So deputies say they aren't ruling anything out, but family members of the victim tell us they do not believe that Charity Beallis, the mother, would harm herself or her children. 4029's Abner Sosa spoke with her family today.
Well, family of Charity Beallis shared their grief today as investigators continue looking into what happened to her and her children. Sebastian County deputies say they were called to a home on South 1st Avenue in Bonanza on December 3rd for a welfare check. Inside, they found 40-year-old Beallis, her 6-year-old son, and 6-year-old daughter, all shot and killed. Investigators say they are waiting on the Arkansas State Medical Examiner's Office for more information and are still reviewing evidence collected from the home. Deputies say everyone they've spoken with is cooperating, and as of Friday, investigators say Charity's husband, Dr. Randall Beallis, is not a suspect. Family members say they are devastated and searching for answers.
I don't know how to describe it, sir. It's tears, heartbroken, unbelievable,
anger.
Thinking maybe I was dreaming.
On the right is Charity's father, whose name is also Randy Powell. And on the left is her 24-year-old son.
And somebody having a nightmare that maybe somebody would wake me up and this wouldn't be true.
1 minute you're mad, the next you're sad, crying, it just every emotion you could think of.
And Charity's family says that her divorce was recently finalized. They say that they are currently working on funeral plans. In Sebastian County, I'm Abner Sosa, 4029 News.
And we reached out to Randall Beallis' attorney, who told us in an email, quote, Mr. Beallis has been cooperative with law enforcement and fully supports the Sebastian County Sheriff's Office investigation, end quote. He went on to say that the two had a custody hearing on December 2nd, and Randall Beallis was awarded joint custody.
There is a new legal battle.
Okay, this is not the one that we just played, is it? Okay, here's where they're working the search warrants.
Surrounding Charity Beallis' divorce case, just days after she and her 2 children were found dead inside their Bonanza home.
4029's LaKyra Banks joins us in studio. LaKyra, the new court filing coming from Charity's oldest son.
Yeah, that's right. So according to court filings, John Randall Powell is looking to intervene in his mother's divorce case, asking a judge not to dismiss divorce filings filed before his mother's death. On December 3rd, Sebastian County Sheriff's deputies found Charity Beallis and her 2 young children shot to death inside their home. Family members confirmed Charity and her husband, Randall Beallis, were in the process of divorce. New court filings show John Powell, Charity's oldest son from a separate relationship, is asking the judge to set aside the order dismissing the divorce. Court records show that a motion was filed to dismiss the divorce case after Charity's death. About an hour later, Powell's attorney filed a motion to intervene and reverse that dismissal. The motion argues the court had already issued a bench ruling before Charity died, and Powell wants the judge to reopen the case and enter the divorce decree retroactively. Charity's family told 4029 yesterday that if the divorce is dismissed, they worry they'll lose access to her belongings.
She was awarded half of all the property in her car and some other things. But if they dismiss the divorce, like Randy Beallis and his attorney asked, that he will get it all, and her only heir, my grandson here, JR, will not get half of the property's value and her car.
Now, meanwhile, the investigation into what led to Charity and her children's death is moving forward. The Sebastian County Sheriff's Office says 12 search warrants are in process, and they're working with state and federal agencies. Detectives have interviewed many people and are following a large number of tips as they continue to process evidence. Preliminary autopsy results are still pending, and no suspect has been named. In studio, LaKyra Banks, 4029 News.
Utah versus court.
Oops. Sorry, Em. What say you? I mean, how do they not have cameras? You saw that house, 39 acres. That's crazy. Let's take a look at the divorce filings because there's so much information in there about their relationship, about their history, about their prior marriage, because they were married twice. And there's been a lot of people in the chat who know Dr. Beallis or have worked with him. And you guys were here the other day. If you're still here, let me know. They also had a prenup. Oh, please. The first time the divorce was filed, Randy filed for divorce against Charity, and this time Charity filed for divorce against Randall. Here's the verified complaint for divorce filed on March 5th, 2025. Charity Beallis versus Randall Beallis. Let's see what we can find out. Let me get my highlighter ready. Comes now, plaintiff Charity Beallis, by and through her attorney, Nathan Roop. And for her complaint for divorce states the following. Plaintiff is an adult resident of Sebastian County, Arkansas, and has been for the last 60 days. Defendant is an adult resident of Sebastian County, Arkansas. Don't get confused by the 60-day thing. It doesn't mean she's only lived there for 60 days. It just means that in order to bring a divorce action, I believe, in this county of Arkansas or in Arkansas, you need to have lived in the county for 60 days. This court has subject matter jurisdiction and the venue is proper with this court. The parties were married on or about November 11th, 2015. The parties last lived together on or about February 16, 2025. The parties have lived separately and apart since. There are two children born of these parties, namely MB, born in 2019, and EB, born in 2019. They are twins. It doesn't say that. I'm telling you that. No further children are expected, and they're using initials for the twins, as they should. And remember, this is the divorce filing. 7, that the court should find the joint custody presumption is not appropriate in this matter. The plaintiff believes that it is in the best interest of the minor children that she be awarded sole custody due to the following. Here it comes. A, the defendant is currently facing criminal charges related to DV. B, as a result of said criminal charges, the defendant is currently under a court-ordered no-contact order, which prohibits any contact with the minor children and the plaintiff. C, that the defendant has a history of domestic violence within the marital residence. 8, that the defendant should not be ordered any visitation due to the current criminal case and no contact order. That if the defendant is ordered any visitation, then it should be ordered to be supervised at Steps, Fort Smith, Arkansas. That the plaintiff requests that the defendant submit to a psychological evaluation by a licensed mental health provider pursuant to Arkansas Rule 35. That the defendant should be ordered to complete an anger management screening and follow any recommendations of said screener. That the defendant has a disclosed history of substance abuse, and based upon his recent behavior and criminal conduct, the plaintiff is under the information and belief that the defendant is abusing illegal substances and requests that this court order the defendant to submit to a fingernail clipping drug screening. 12, that child support should be addressed pursuant to the requirements set forth in Administrative Order Number 10. That said child support should be based upon a non-joint custodial child support worksheet. That this court should enter an order for spousal support in this matter. That this court's standard order regarding children's medical and dental is attached and should apply between the parties. 15, said marriage is not a covenant marriage under the Covenant Marriage Act of 2001. That there are issues of personal property over which this court needs to exercise its jurisdiction and make equitable division. That there are issues of real property and marital debt to be determined by this court if the parties are unable to reach an agreement. That this court should evenly divide all 401k and investment accounts in the parties' names. The parties share real property located at 1118 South First Avenue, Bonanza, Arkansas. That's the picture of the 39-acre estate that we looked at earlier with the big-ass gates and their super long driveway. Due to the defendant's arrest and subsequent no-contact order, the plaintiff is currently in possession of the marital property. Was he mad that she got the house? He's not even a suspect, apparently. The court should enter an order that the plaintiff shall remain in possession of the party's marital residence where the minor children reside during the pendency of this matter. The plaintiff should ensure that all utilities remain current and be prohibited from shutting off services to the marital property. The parties should be enjoined from accruing any new marital debt from the date of separation, including any new debts associated with the marital residence at 1118 South First Avenue, Bonanza. Neither party is a member of the Armed Services of the United States. Each party should be enjoined and restrained from harassing or bothering the other as provided by this court's standing orders. In the event that the plaintiff is unable to obtain service of process upon the defendant within 120 days of the date of this filing, the plaintiff moves the court for an order granting an extension of time in which to obtain service of process pursuant to the rules. That the plaintiff is entitled to a divorce from the defendant pursuant to Arkansas statute. General indignities which have occurred throughout this marriage and have rendered the plaintiff's condition intolerable. Many states call that irreconcilable differences. 25, that the plaintiff would request a temporary hearing on the issues of custody, visitation, and both spousal and child support at this court's earliest convenience. That the plaintiff waives venue in this matter and respectfully requests that any hearings be held in the Sebastian County Court Building located in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And please grant me a divorce. XOXO, Charity Beallis by Nathan Roop, Fort Smith, Arkansas. And going through this divorce file was wild. Charity went through at least 3, maybe 4 attorneys, which isn't uncommon in a divorce. Sometimes parties go through many attorneys, but I don't know. There's just something about it that I just can't quite put my fingers on it yet. If you have any thoughts, let me know if you're familiar with this case. But it's interesting to say the least, but we're not done yet. Wait, there's more. So that complaint for the divorce was filed on March 5th, 2025. By April 25th, Charity got a different lawyer. So that's what, 6 weeks? The new lawyer's name is a female attorney by the name of Sydney Rasch, R-A-S-C-H. And then Charity's new attorney made a motion to the court asking for a continuance of the divorce hearing that was scheduled for April 14th. And again, before the Honorable Judge Shannon Blatt, the one who says she received a phone call from Charity's dad. And they wanted more time because she recently had obtained new counsel. And we can find out more by looking at those court papers, which I need to download for you. So one moment. And that is here. Anytime a new attorney is assigned to the case or hired, they need time to get up to speed. And so it's a reasonable request. But let's read the papers so that we can get some more information on what it is exactly that was going on between Charity and Dr. Randall Beallis. So the attorney is saying, I need more time because I'm just getting up to speed on this case. I was just hired, etc. And then she says, this case involves significant assets, financial accounts, and the custody of minor children. The plaintiff has not worked since prior to the birth of the minor children, and the respondent has significant income and assets which are not readily accessible. Respondent, meaning Dr. Randy Beallis, has been charged with aggravated assault, family or household member, a Class D felony against the plaintiff, as well as 3 misdemeanor counts of domestic battery, 3rd degree, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor, 3rd degree, against the plaintiff and the parties' 2 minor children in a different case number, State versus Randy Scott Beallis. In this case, there exists a criminal no contact order, which prohibits the respondent from contacting the plaintiff or their minor children until after his criminal trial, which is currently scheduled for July 21 of 2025. A final order of protection hearing in case number, that's this divorce case, Charity Beallis versus Randy Beallis, is scheduled at the same time as the temporary hearing, June 10th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Both hearings combined are set for only 3 hours. Plaintiff anticipates she will need to call 5 or 6 witnesses other than the parties, including at least 2 police officers, the minor children's therapeutic professionals, plaintiff's therapist, and at least 2 members of the parties' families, just to present her case for a final order of protection, not including the witnesses that would be needed to address the parties' financial situation, which is necessary for a temporary hearing. All of these witnesses are imperative in order to present plaintiff's case for a permanent order of protection on behalf of herself and the minor children. Therefore, it's apparent that these 3 hours will not be a sufficient number of time for both matters to be heard. A full day hearing will be necessary. Furthermore, while the respondent's criminal case is pending, it may be impossible for the plaintiff to obtain any information from the respondent in court, as he will likely be required to plead his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination on advice of counsel. For all of these reasons, plaintiff states that a continuance is both appropriate and necessary and requests that this court grant her motion for a continuance. Plaintiff has currently filed a motion for a continuance in the divorce case. Well, as we always say, an order of protection is just a piece of paper. Wherefore, please give us some more time. XOXO, Charity Beallis by her attorney, her new attorney now, her second attorney, Sydney Rash, Esquire. But wait, there's more. The judge denied that motion to continue. And kept it on the docket for June 10th. And then set a final hearing date let's see. Hold, please. All right. The parties then agreed, actually, that a continuance was appropriate. And the final hearing was reset to September 25th of 2025 for a full day hearing. Then Sydney Rash asked for another adjournment. Well, maybe that was the July adjournment. Hold on. There was some very interesting papers in here. I got to find them for you and download them. Okay, here it is. Motion for hair follicle drug and alcohol test. Which will tell us even more. We know what goes on in Arkansas because we've been following a lot of cases in Arkansas, including Aaron Spencer, which I hope to update you on this afternoon. If you guys are interested in coming back, we will do an update on Aaron Spencer because his trial is in 10 days. And the judge in that case, Barbara Elmore, has made some rulings that are going to really work against him. Here it is. This is the motion, verified motion for hair follicle and drug and alcohol test. This was filed by Charity Beallis' attorney all the way back September 17th, 2025. So remember, less than 90 days later, Charity and her twins were gunned down. I don't know why it's freezing. Is it StreamYard? Is it YouTube? I don't know. I'm not freezing on my end, so my Ethernet is fine. As far as I know, my Ethernet is fine. All right, I'll try and figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, then we're going to just have to wait till tomorrow to do Aaron Spencer, but I was hoping to do it today. Here's the verified motion for hair follicle drug and alcohol test. And this is in the divorce case. Where's my highlighter? There we go. Now comes the plaintiff, Charity Beallis, by her counsel, and states as follows. Okay, listen, here we go. The parties were married initially in 2012, having divorced one another in a case, a different divorce case, styled Beallis versus Beallis, here and after the first marriage. Yes, Charity Beallis was Randall Beallis's third and fourth wife. The parties reconciled in a dating relationship sometime in 2013. They then remarried one another on or about November 11th of 2015. Here and after, the time period from 2013 to present is referred to as the reconciliation and remarriage. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So he has zero issues. It's like a service issue on the user's end. Thank you very much. And Mama She, hi Mama She. Says I've been here the whole show, not one glitch with the stream. Good. Okay, good. I don't know. The chat sometimes distracts me because I like to know what people are saying, and everyone is saying that it's glitchy for them. So if you guys are good, I'm good. Okay. The parties separated on February 16th, 2025, after a domestic violence incident for which defendant has been charged in the case called State versus Randy Scott Beallis. On or about March 31st, 2025, and in the course of the investigation related to the criminal case, the parties' minor children, male-female twins born in 2019, disclosed an act of CA. YouTube hates that word, even though it's real-life stuff that we're talking about, and even though it really needs to be talked about, YouTube doesn't like it. Hold, please, while I redact it, because they've got AI and all the things and stuff. So one of the twins disclosed an act of CA perpetrated by their father upon them in July of 2024. The disclosure included detailed statements regarding father suffocating the twins and threatening to harm them if they told anyone. On information and belief, a child abuse investigation opened and the allegations were found to be true. A true and correct copy of the child maltreatment, true investigative determination notice is attached here too and incorporated herein as Exhibit A. Mother represents to the court under oath that during the first marriage there was infidelity, but mother does not know of any drug or alcohol abuse or domestic or DV. Meaning their first marriage. Remember, he was married once to another doctor named Donna, and his second marriage ended in, allegedly, Shauna Beallis taking her own life. However, during the reconciliation and remarriage, specifically around August of 2013, father beat mother and almost strangled her to death. He then portrayed her as the aggressor and had her arrested. The charges were dropped. Mother believes father to have been abusing alcohol and illegal narcotics during that attack. Don't ask why she didn't leave. The parties split briefly after the August 2013 incident, but reconciled in 2015. Between the years 2015 and the mother's pregnancy with the twins in 2019, father physically abused mother numerous times, with 3 such times being the worst. One such time included father holding a shotgun to her face. During each attack, father was under the influence of alcohol and or illegal narcotics, including heroin. And it's in the court papers. It's in the court. This is why we deal in court papers and not rumor. The hardest part, the most dangerous part for anyone in an abusive relationship is when you're leaving. That is the most dangerous time. That is the most dangerous time. Once the twins were born, father's abuse converted to mainly psychological and emotional and financial. However, his temper shifted with his use of alcohol and illegal narcotics. Mother has personal knowledge that father drinks to excess, especially specifically whiskey and gin. Mother also has personal knowledge that father has abused heroin in the past. Mother believes that his extreme rage is directly related to his drug and alcohol use. I'm going to just say this to you. I can bet with 100% certainty this stream will be shadow banned by YouTube because they don't like us talking about this stuff. So please share it out so that it gets to people. Shadow banning is when YouTube doesn't show your video out to new viewers and other people because they deem it unfriendly to advertisers and they can't make as much money off of it. However, father's extreme physical abuse returned in February 2025, and mother believes father to have been under the influence of heroin on the date in question, and he's a doctor. Ten, that the above entitled proceedings will involve child custody, child visitation, and the welfare of a minor child. That, pursuant to Arkansas law, mother requests that defendant father submit himself to a 90-day 12-panel extended hair follicle with added detection for alcohol usage levels at this address. That mother will prepay for said tests. That if father fails said test, mother requests reimbursement thereof within 10 days of receiving such positive results. Failure is defined as positive for any substance for which father does not have a valid prescription and moderate or excessive alcohol consumption. Mother requests that the court order father not to color, bleach, shave, or otherwise alter or adulterate his hair sample prior to the test. If a sufficient amount of hair cannot be obtained, mother requests that the test be automatically converted to a nail bed test at the father's expense. She wanted it all. 90 days later, she and her beautiful babies would be dead. 12, father should present to the testing facility within 24 hours of entry of this order. 13, if father adulterates the sample of hair or nail bed and or fails to present within the ordered time, the court should deem father positive for all tested substances with an alcohol usage level of excessive consumption. Please grant this order. XOXO, Charity Beallis, and her third lawyer now, Jacqueline Mock of Mock Legal Solutions. And everything is always in the exhibits. But before we go to the exhibits, let's go to the chat and let me just do everyone the courtesy of redacting whatever needs to be redacted in this exhibit. So give me 2 moments. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Because as you know, no one has been arrested for the murders of Charity and her children. So I'm not accusing anyone. Oh, please talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I don't know why this isn't working. I don't like the new system. Here it is. Here is the child abuse report. But first, Nate Taylor wants to tell me Boston 25, 5-year-old was hit by a car, backed into, no charges filed because of a technicality. I haven't seen that. Thank you so much for your 5. That's horrific. I've been watching The Pit and I am fully invested in The Pit. If you haven't started watching it, watch it. It is the best, in my opinion, the best ER show ever made. And Noah Wiley deserves every award that he's been getting. And it's gruesome. Like, I can't watch a lot of it because I don't like to watch some of those degloving injuries, if you know, you know, etc. But it is it's such a great show. And there is nothing worse, especially for emergency room workers. And tell me if you are one, because I have the most professional chat out there. You guys are experts in just about everything. Anytime I need an expert in anything, I can always find one in the chat. Nothing hits harder than a child losing their life when you're working in an emergency room, I would imagine. Horrific. Kazi's Thesaurus is here. Thanks for your 10. Says, I called my ex-boyfriend from 2008 driving past my house in his semi with full trailer. I live in Wisconsin. He lives in Colorado. He threatened to have me taken off this mortal coil when we split. Thank you so much for your 10. And I see that you put the same chat in there twice. And that's horrific. I hope you reported him to your local police. Thank you for your super chats. Mama, she says, been here the whole show. Not even a glitch. Thank you so much. Here we go. And this is the exhibit to this motion for the drug testing. And there's just one thing here. Hold on a second. One day, I'm going to get the hang of this whole streaming thing, and it's going to be like crazy. It's going to be so crazy. It's going to be off the charts. This is a new system if you're just tuning in, so you have to just give me some grace today as I try and figure out what I'm doing. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. This is the Arkansas State Police Crimes Against Children report that was found to be founded to the 2 twins, care of Charity Beallis at that address that we've been talking about from CACD Laura Perry, Van Buren, Arkansas. Officer Sebastian, let's not use his phone number here. Get rid of that. The date was July 15th of 2025, and it was a referral. And the alleged victims were the 2 twins of Randy and Charity Beallis, and the name of the alleged offender is Randy Beallis. And here's the body of this report. The Arkansas State Police Crimes Against Children Division received an allegation of suspected child maltreatment involving the above-named people. The incident was reported on 3/31/25. Pursuant to Arkansas law, this is your notice that, based on the preponderance of the evidence, the investigative agency determined the allegation to be true, and the offender's name should be placed in the Child Maltreatment Central Registry. The type of maltreatment was abuse with or without physical injury for both children, and abuse with a threat of harm to the son. Please note that the alleged offender has a right to contest the agency investigation determination by requesting an administrative hearing within 30 days of notice of the investigative determination. Approximately 1/2 of the agency's investigative determinations are upheld by the administrative law judge. The alleged offender's name will not be placed on the Child Maltreatment Central Registry until the later of the expiration of 30 days without a hearing or request, or the day the administrative law judge hands down a hearing upholding the true investigative determination. And so there's that. But wait, there's more. Thank you, inverted sneaker. Retired healthcare worker here needed some counseling after a child was brought in by his father after, oh my God, that's horrible. Very sad things going on out there. Nancy says, how can he not be a suspect? He sounds like a monster. Saying elbows fire, really? Says, why get pregnant? Really? Okay, I'm going to start deleting these comments because I think they're insensitive. And I think that you are not understanding perhaps the dynamic of a toxic relationship and an abusive relationship. Please remember that family members watch a lot of my shows. Family members of victims, family members of defendants. And so at least try to be sensitive to the difficulties of leaving an abusive relationship. Just maybe try. I don't know. But wait, there's more. Charity Beallis also moved to have the attorneys for her husband disqualified because the firm that represented him also represented her in the past, which to me is a clear conflict that they're representing him in the divorce when they know so much about her. That was the sealed matter that we were talking about that happened in 2020, wherein Charity's oldest son, not from the marriage of Charity and Randall, filed for kind of emancipation and said that that one of them had, I think it was Randall who slashed the tires. You guys can tell me if you've seen the videos, and wanted to get out of there and get away from them. And this law firm, the Geen, G-E-A-N, is it Geen or Gene law firm, represented both the father and the mother in that. And how could they now represent him in the divorce, learning all the things that they learned during the representation of both of them for that? And as recently as December of 2024, mother Charity and Geen or Gene were in contact about whether or not that was sealed. All right. If you hear me talking, but I'm frozen, it's a you problem, because there's many people who are not having the problem. And I think it's an internet service provider. And there's a lot of people who don't have problems, and some do. If you are one of those people who's affected by whatever outage it is, it might be a problem on your end, because there's a lot of people with no problems. So what you should do here, exactly. Lucy says, the freezing is probably specific to a number of viewers being routed through an ISP having problem. It's a maze of connections that gets each person here. That's right. Sadie says, this is sickening. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it is. John Roberts giving everyone the advice to exercise your Second Amendment rights, get training, get familiar, get comfortable, get accurate. I don't know. Maybe she did have it. I don't know. Maybe she did have a weapon. Maybe she did. It's just so wild. Cape Cod Bus says, hi, everyone. Only 52 days till daylight savings time. Yay. And John Roberts is also advising everyone to get YouTube Premium as a minimum, eliminate all commercials. Yes, not only does it eliminate all commercials, but you can get a student rate, and it's very cheap. If you're a student, you can get a student rate. You can also get a family plan. Best investment I ever made. Listen, if you're paying for Netflix and all of the other streamers, YouTube Premium will be your best value, because many of you watch YouTube all day long. All day long. Zoe is here, and she knows everything. Nail bed toxicology tests take clippings of fingers and toenails to test for substances in the keratin of the nail. Tests can detect substances going back 3 to 12 months, depending on the lengths of nails. Thank you, Zoe, for always hitting us with all the knowledge about so many things. Also contained in that motion to disqualify Randall Beallis' attorneys some text messages going back to 2020 between one of the lawyers and Charity about the incident that we were talking about, and how her communication with him was ongoing. Seems like a clear conflict to me, but here we are in Arkansas, and things are a little bit different there. Anybody's from Arkansas? Tell everyone. Tell them everything. In October, that motion was denied because the judge did not find any unethical conduct by the Geen or Jean law firm, Gean. And then Jacqueline Mock, the third attorney, asked to withdraw. And then for a moment, Charity represented herself. One moment. One of these filings, and I'm not sure if it was in this case file, they had a copy of the prenup, and the prenup states that Charity would only get $10,000 if they divorced before 20 years. And if you're interested in this case, I will find it for you, and we will go back to that another day. Mock was permitted to withdraw. Charity then represented herself. And here's an interesting letter to the judge from Charity, November 20th, 2025. And this is Judge Blatt, the same one. It is alleged who was called by Charity's dad. And this is in the court file as late as November 20th of 2025. Remember, her date of death and the twins' date of death was December 5th, 2025. I'm sorry, December 2nd, 2025. Okay, so this letter was sent to the court November 20th. 30 days in November, 12 days later, she and the twins were dead. I don't know, I'm no investigator, but this is kind of becoming, obvious at this point. November 20th of 2025, here's the letter Charity wrote to the judge in her divorce case. Judge Blatt. And it was asking for an emergency hearing on Beallis versus Beallis. Your Honor, she writes, my name is Charity Beallis, and I am appearing pro se in this matter. That means that she's representing herself. After how many lawyers? I don't remember. 4. I respectfully request an emergency hearing due to recent developments involved in procedural concerns and communication issues that require the court's immediate attention. On Monday, November 17th, I received an email from opposing counsel asking whether there was a time he could meet and speak privately with the minor children involved in this case. The children are protected by 2 active orders of protection. The Arkansas State Police has substantiated child maltreatment by Randy Beallis, and there's a domestic battery 3rd-degree conviction related to this matter. Given these circumstances, the request for private access to the children was alarming and raised immediate concern. My concern is not directed personally at counsel, but toward the possibility that coercive control by Randy Beallis may be prompting inappropriate or unsafe communications during this litigation. I believe this issue requires the court's review to ensure appropriate boundaries and protections remain in place. With the final hearing scheduled on December 2nd, 2025, that's right, same date, They were found dead. I am also requesting an emergency hearing so that these matters can be addressed promptly and the case may proceed to a conclusion as scheduled. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the court set an emergency hearing at the earliest available time. Thank you for your time and attention. XOXO, Charity Beallis, pro se. Right. Can she scream any louder? I don't think so. She was screaming out for help from the court. Oh, I agree with you, DJ. DJ says Bob Weir was such a handsome man from his birth to his passing. He so was. He totally was. Can she scream any louder? I mean, what's going on in Arkansas? Why is there no investigation? No, I think she meant, can Charity scream any louder? No, I didn't think she was talking to me. Am I too loud? No, I think she was talking about Charity, asking for help, telling the judge everything. Oh, Jen, thank you so much. Aloha from Maui. You're in Maui. Can you send me an email? My email is in the show notes, fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. And your son is at University of Hawaii Manoa. Aloha. So exciting. Send me an email. Let me know what he thinks, how he likes it. I'm so happy to hear that. I need some boots on the ground if she's going to go that far away. It's a 12-hour plane ride. Sounds a little like Ashley Benefield in many ways. Right. Right. And remember, in Ashley Benefield's case, she is the one who shot her alleged abuser. And she is the one who is now sitting in jail. Prison. Kokomo, Indiana says she screamed to the governor, senators, and House of Representatives. So no, she can't. She can't scream any louder. Proctorial misconduct, thanks to your 5, says, this is Arkansas. No one can hear you screaming here. You think Massachusetts is dirty? Oh dear, come have a visit here and be astounded. What I am so astounded about is that this case is not receiving the level of attention, in my opinion, that the Tepe case has received. And no one has been arrested in this case. And look at Charity and her beautiful children. 2 women, both around the same age. Monique Tepe was 39, Charity Beallis 40. In Monique Tepe's case, yeah, it's different because she and her husband, Spencer, both murdered by her crazy ex-husband, allegedly. And here we are in Arkansas. No one's been arrested. I feel like no one's talking about it, or maybe people were talking about it in the beginning when it first happened, but it needs to be out there more. In my opinion, Diana says, OMG, hashtag can she scream any louder needs to be a thing. You nailed it. RIP, so sad. So sad. No, Katie. Katie says, so in the video you played with the 2 men, you think the older of the 2 killed it? No. The video that I played of the 2 men, one is her son and one is her father. No, I'm going to delete that comment. No, her husband, Dr. Randy Beallis, is the one who was looking at felony charges, who got a sweetheart deal when he finally pled guilty on the strangulation of Charity and the abuse of the children. He got a 1-year suspended sentence and a $1,500 fee in October of 2025. And there's been no arrests. And this is proctorial misconduct, is saying exactly what the quiet part out loud. If he has Albert level connections, he won't be arrested. I don't know. I'm not local to there. This is Arkansas, Sebastian County. Lonoke County is where Aaron Spencer is. And the corruption going on over there is wild. If you want to do a deep dive into the decades of corruption in Arkansas, go over to the channel Carnage on Ice. And he has done an amazing job at the decades of corruption in Arkansas. I don't know that the autopsy results have come out yet. I haven't seen anything about that. My deep dive into the divorce case told me so much. So much. Part-time misconduct. This is Arkansas. No one can hear you screaming here. You think Mass is dirty? Oh dear. Come have a visit here and be astounded. Thank you for your 5. I'm not sure if I read that already or not. Ann Smith says maybe the Tepe case got all the press because the Columbus police are on the up and up and Arkansas has been known to have corruption. Isn't that more of a reason why it should get more attention though? Shouldn't it get more attention because we know how much corruption there is in Arkansas? Like, to me, and they're both very, very, very tragic cases. And my heart goes out to both families of all of these victims. I just don't think Charity's case is receiving enough attention, and I think we need to scream a little bit louder. I think we need to scream a little bit louder. Both of these women, married doctors, both of them seem to have been in abusive relationships. And what we're learning from Monique Tepe's murder is that you can never really escape. Right? How long did this guy wait? How long did he maybe stalk her for? And again, we don't know about Michael McKee and whether, well, I'm sure they'll do all the forensics on his phone and everything. And we'll learn more. Yeah, the ex received the remains. We covered that earlier. Maybe some public pressure would help this. Maybe with some public pressure outside of Arkansas, right? Because Jennifer is telling us that the level of corruption in Arkansas would blow your mind. We've been following Aaron Spencer. And we've covered a couple of cases in Oklahoma. And this is horrific. KB in Virginia says, my sister-in-law said it was big in the news when it first happened. Now nothing. Gen X 1968 says exactly. Thank you, Melanie, for putting this on the front burner. Jersey 2 says, how is it pretty much in every case like this that the main suspect is always the spouse or partner? Why are they not even looking into this POS? Maybe they are. I don't know, but I can't find anything about it. Thanks, Jackie says the world is watching. Thanks to Melanie and other creators. Well, I think you should share the story out because I'm outraged. I'm outraged by it. And I hope you're outraged about it too. Let's take a look at, here's an article from December 5th, 2025. And this is talking about, this is Channel 5 News in Arkansas. Talking about how the day after she died, Randall's divorce attorney went in and filed a motion to dismiss that divorce case because she was no longer living. Because of course he did. Oh, please. What just happened? I have to watch. I have to suffer through a commercial, but I'll do it for you guys. I'll do it for you. Can I skip it? Maybe I can skip it now. All right, here we go. This was from December 5th.
Learning more about the months leading up to the death of Charity Powell Beallis and her 2 young children.
The 3 deaths were reported on Wednesday in Bonanza, which is just south of Fort Smith. Court records outline a domestic violence case and a divorce filing earlier this year.
5 News reporter Bo Russell is here now with a closer look at that timeline. Bo?
Here's the timeline.
Good morning. Hey, Darren. Well, I've been going through police reports, court documents, and talking with Charity's family. We're learning tonight that the day before Charity and her 6-year-old twins were found dead in her home, She was in court for her final divorce hearing. Court records show that on February 16th, Charity Powell Beallis called police reporting that her husband, Dr. Randall Beallis, assaulted her inside their home.
On February 16th, my son-in-law choked my daughter in front of her children, drug her down the steps, and he was arrested.
Beallis initially faced 4 charges and ultimately pleaded guilty to 1. On March 5th, Charity filed for divorce in Sebastian County. In that complaint, she asked for sole custody of the twins and wrote that there had been a history of violence in the home. Telling him she feared for her life and her kids.
If it hadn't been for
She went to a state senator asking for help, fearing for her life and her kids. And Kim, I'm so sorry about your baby sister. Age 12, killed in a car crash by a hit in the rear. Your dad was driving by a drug mule from Sheridan, Arkansas. He worked for Bill Clinton Clan. He was never arrested or prosecuted for manslaughter. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Thank you. Arlene says, Melanie, I'm so glad you're bringing this to everyone's attention. It's so important to bring the facts to light. Thank you so much. God bless these children and their mother. Wait, she must have been terrified. She went to the senator. Hold on. Can I rewind this? On their little... Listen to that again.
Terry Rice, who confirmed Charity came to him for help earlier. Today, I spoke with Arkansas State Senator Terry Rice, who confirmed Charity came to him for help earlier this year, telling him she feared for her life and her kids.
If it hadn't been for him, she'd have probably been dead before now. But Senator Rice...
She'd probably have been dead before now if it wasn't for him. Senator Rice, done everything he could, he says.
Everything he could.
On Tuesday, December 2nd, Charity and her husband met in Sebastian County Court for the final hearing in their divorce case. The next day, police found Charity and her twins shot dead inside their Bonanza home. On Thursday, a day after that discovery, Beallis and his attorneys filed a motion to dismiss the divorce. Charity's family says they still have not heard from law enforcement.
Hold, please. This is on December 5th. Which senator? It said Senator Rice. Look at the overhead shot. If you can come to your screen, come to your screen. I know many of you are driving 18-wheelers and your mail carriers. We have a large mail carrier contingent here. Shout out to all the mail carriers. Rain seats. Look at this overhead shot of this 39-acre property where Charity was living with the children. She had possession of the marital home while the divorce was working its way through the court. Yeah, Gen X says, why can't Senator Rice help get her husband in custody? Or like, what's going on with the investigation? How about that? If he is, I'm sure he's considered a suspect, I would think. Maybe they're keeping it close to the vest. San Elmo's Fire says we need to make sure Rice and other representatives we know are watching. Exactly, Deborah. That's what I've been saying. I've been screaming this into the Ethernet for a very long time. People need to understand that DV victims are in the most danger when they try to leave their abuser. This divorce was the ultimate act of leaving him. Also, they were married twice. I don't know if you were here earlier. This was they married twice. The second marriage was almost 10 years long, and it resulted in the twins being born. The first marriage was a short marriage around 2012 and lasted a short time, but then they remarried in 2015. So they got married, they got divorced, and they got married again. And apparently, according to the papers that we read, Dr. Beallis was abusing heroin. It said it in the papers. It wasn't me who said that. I'm taking this back a little tiny smidgen. So you can see come to your screen and see the overhead shots of this compound that they lived on.
In their divorce case. The next day, police found Charity and her twins shot dead inside their Bonanza home. On Thursday, a day after that discovery, Beallis and his attorneys filed a motion to dismiss the divorce.
Yeah, let's file a motion to dismiss because you know why? She's dead now, so it doesn't matter. You can't grant the divorce because she's dead. Here's what would have happened if they granted the divorce. If the divorce was granted before her death, her son, the 24-year-old that we looked at before, who's going to be in this next shot with the grandfather, with Charity's father, would have inherited her assets. But nope, judge didn't want to do that. Judge dismissed the divorce action instead on motion by this probably very well-connected firm in Arkansas.
Charity's family says they still have not heard from law enforcement.
I had to contact the sheriff in another county that I know through high school.
That is Charity's father, Randy Powell.
to get him to even confirm that my daughter was dead. They would not even confirm to me that my daughter and grandchildren were dead.
The Sebastian County Sheriff's Office says they have not identified any suspects in this case, but also say they haven't ruled anyone out. Today, I asked the Sebastian County Circuit Clerk for documents related to the Beallis final divorce hearing. She directed me to the state's online court record system, but there are no entries from that hearing. I've also reached out to the office of Judge Shannon Blatz, who presided over the divorce, but have not yet received a response. Senator Rice tells me he believes it's important this case has as many eyes on it as possible to make sure justice is served.
Well, we're
Bo
here.
Russell,
We're
5
here to
News.
do that. We're here to do that. So thank you. The final hearing was held the day before, but the divorce decree was not signed by the judge, and so the divorce was not considered final. Instead, the judge on motion dismissed it. So yeah, there's some confusion out there. The final hearing was the day before, but the judge had not signed the final decree. And until the final decree is signed, the divorce is not final. Kraft Haskell says, OMG, that is too sad. How can this still be happening in this century? I don't know. It's heartbreaking. And Zoe reminding us that in the US, 3+ women a day lose their life at the hands of an intimate partner. 3+? I would think it would be even more than that, Zoe. Ms. Tricia says, that's a red flag right there. How dare they dismiss when she was a victim of DV? It happens all the time. It happens more than you know. Here's the crazy thing about the death of Shauna Beallis, who was Randy Beallis's second wife. And this was posted by somebody named, I'm going to give you full credit on this one, True Crime Mama on Facebook on December 18th. Take a look at this. She says, bombshell news in the case of Charity Beallis and Shauna Beallis. In 2021, Charity's father, Randy Powell, told Bonanza PD that Charity had admitted that she and Randy Beallis killed Shauna, with Charity pulling the trigger. Shauna was Dr. Randy Beallis' second wife. Charity was his third. I'm going to add that Charity was his third and fourth wife because they married twice. Nothing was ever done. Shauna's death remains to be ruled as a taking of her own life to this day, a claim her family adamantly rejects. After Shauna's death, Charity married Randy Beallis. In February, Randy Beallis was charged with domestic battery, which he pled guilty to. In March, Charity filed for divorce. On December 2nd, their final divorce hearing was held. The following day, Charity and her 6-year-old twins were found shot to death in their home. No manner of death has been given yet, and no one has been named as a person of interest or suspect, but the Department of Homeland Security and the Secret Service are assisting Bonanza PD with the investigation, which is interesting to me. Why would the Department of Homeland Security be involved? And why would the Secret Service be involved? Thoughts from some of my retired and or current law enforcement friends in the chat? Randy Powell, Charity's dad, did walk that back eventually and said, no, I didn't say that she pulled the trigger. I said that she knew who did it. And if you go for the comments to this Facebook post, there's some other wild information that just is like rumor and speculation. So I don't really want to bring that to you. But I will say that according to River Valley News, they shared or posted an article, published an article on December 11th, 2025. The 2012 death of Shauna Beallis resurfaces amid ongoing investigation. Let's take a look. roll it back and we can watch the video. Hold, please.
Well, it's now been over a week. Still no information out of Sebastian County investigators into the shooting deaths of Charity Beallis and her twin children. And as we're left waiting, many are now asking, should investigators possibly reopen another shooting?
Okay, and come back to your screen. This is the mug shot of Randy Beallis. A lot of you were asking if I had a picture. Here it is. Randy Beallis on the right. That's the mug shot from his arrest on the DV charges and the child abuse charges, which I think was in February 2025.
Case that also has direct ties to Charity's now ex-husband. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Doug Warner.
And I'm Allie Lynch. 13 years ago, Reynold Beallis' previous wife was found shot to death. Enforcement police ruled it a suicide, but we wanted to know if Charity's death gives cause to reopen this past case. KNWA's Dylan Neuter joins us now in studio. And Dylan, as you started looking into this, you quickly discovered the death of Shauna Beallis was looked into a second time just a few years ago.
That's right, Doug. Allie, just today, we received a limited number of investigation documents from Portsmouth Police that revealed Shauna's case was re-examined in 2021. That raised the question as to why police took a second look at the case. Let's just start right at the beginning. According to the initial incident report in early 2012, Portsmouth Police responded to the home of Randall and Shauna Beallis. The police report found Randall at the front door saying she killed herself. They also noted some furniture and other.
Oh, hold on. Now we have some documents on this because I didn't have any documents on this, on the death of Shauna Beallis in 2012. It says here, I'm going to read what's on the screen. Officer Barentine and I arrived on scene at the same time. The garage door was open. I approached the front door and Dustin watched the garage entry door. I did not hear anything as I got to the door. Several seconds after knocking on the door, I began to hear sobs coming closer. I told Dustin someone was coming to the door. Randy Beallis answered the door and told me, quote, she killed herself. I asked him where she was. He told me she was in the bedroom. Dustin and I then told Randy he needed to sit down while I went to check on his wife, Shauna Beallis. Dustin remained with him while I went to the bedroom. Once there, I found a white female with a single gunshot wound to the middle of her forehead. There was a small revolver laying on the right side of her body towards her neck. I then radioed for a supervisor to respond to my location. As I was getting back into the living room area, Sergeant Bales called me. I gave him the details I had. He told me Sergeant Entmeyer was going to respond. I then watched Randy while Dustin went to the bedroom. And then it says, we began speaking to Randy about the last time he spoke with Shauna. He said and that's where it ends. Zoe pointing out the Secret Service has resources to investigate crimes similar to FBI in terms of cell phone tracking and GPS surveillance. Let's keep going.
Other items scattered around the home. When police went upstairs, they found Shauna in their bed with an apparent gunshot wound. Randall later claimed Shauna had mentioned earlier in the day she was going to kill herself.
Oh, of course he said that. She mentioned earlier in the day that she was going to kill herself. Let's read what it says here. Due to a gunshot wound to the head, Mrs. Beallis was a 34-year-old white female who was found dead in her bed with a single gunshot wound to her forehead. A weapon was recovered lying next to the decedent at the top of her right shoulder. Reportedly, her past medical history was significant for depression. Examination of the body and autopsy limited to the head revealed a single gunshot wound on the forehead. Around the gunshot wound were stellate lacerations, and the frontal bone of the skull was exposed in the bed of the wound. Soot was detracted on the frontal bone. These findings indicate that the barrel of the gun was placed tightly against the forehead at the time the trigger was pulled. Death would follow such an injury quickly. In addition, soot deposition was detected on the palm of the decedent's left hand. A bullet was recovered from the skull and retained after being photographed. Specimens retained for toxicological testing. However, no testing was performed. Manner of death, suicide. The medical examiner for this autopsy was Daniel D.Y.E. Dye, MD. Did they ever test Randy's hands for gunshot residue? I have so many questions. Middle of the forehead, people are saying no effing way. Apparently Charity was there too. I need more documents on this.
After the medical examiner report came in within days, Fort Smith police ruled it a suicide. Shauna's family tells us they disputed the findings for over a year, but had no choice but to accept the outcome, which brings us to 2021. Another case document reveals the case was re-examined by police due to new information given to the Bonanza Police Department.
Oh, so they quickly ruled it a suicide, but then they opened it in 2021. Remember, her initial death was 2012. In 2021, they reopened it.
It reads that Charity Beallis' own father, Randy Powell, told police that Charity was involved in Shauna's death. Today, we called Randy Powell to ask him about this. He says he never said his daughter was involved, only that she knew who did it. So this brings us back to that original question. Would Fort Smith police consider reopening Shauna Beallis' case? I reached out to FSPD, but I'm still awaiting the answer to that question. However, if they did, they may have a hard time doing so, since by court order, all the actual evidence was destroyed in 2014. Since
All of the actual evidence was destroyed in 2014. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Can you say corruption? Hello, Arkansas. We're looking at you. Gen X 1968 says also a medical examiner called Dr. Dye. Yeah, that's wild. All of the evidence was destroyed in 2014 on the alleged suicide of Shauna Beallis. Listen, I'll play that back. You guys know how to spot corruption from a mile away.
SPD, but I'm still awaiting the answer to that question. So this brings us back to that original question. Would Fort Smith police consider reopening Shauna Beallis' case? I reached out to FSPD, but I'm still awaiting the answer to that question. However, if they did, they may have a hard time doing so, since by court order, all the actual evidence was destroyed in 2014, since the case was deemed closed. Doug, Allie, back to you.
All right, Dylan, that was surprising to learn that evidence.
Sure, millions of people trust
No,
Vistaprint to
we don't. Yeah, so, they can't reopen it because they destroyed all of the evidence because it was deemed closed, because it was deemed a suicide. That's all they wrote, folks. That's all they wrote for now. So please spread the story of Charity Beallis, because this is going to keep me awake at night. I don't know about you. Let me know what your thoughts are while I close some of these windows. Jody says, Arkansas and Massachusetts are neck and neck with corruption. Feels that way, doesn't it? Oh, we need our badass affirmation of the day. Thank you. Every day we pull a affirmation for a badass from the deck, and we shuffle the cards and we read it out. And here we go. For today's badass affirmation, oftentimes it is something that you guys need absolutely to hear in the moment today. Let's pick it out. Here we go. Today's badass affirmation. I have the serenity to kick some ass today. I have the serenity to kick some ass today. There you go. Can you read it? For those of you who need to hear it. I think he's a DO. I think he's a family medicine doctor. You guys can let me know if you know otherwise. Crystal Justice says, so heartbreaking, not only for the victims, but all the children that are left with either no parents and or left living a life with a possible murderer. Right. Right. And to think that they gave the remains of the twins to this guy so he could do what he wanted with them instead of burying them with their mother just shows what kind of guy he is, right? If he had nothing to do with this, which I assume that he's saying he had nothing to do with this, why wouldn't he allow them to be buried together just for spite? It's horrifying. It's horrifying. I'm horrified and I'm outraged. And Patricia, Proctorial Misconduct says, I'm going to type an example of dirty government in the chat. Thank you, Proctor. I can't go look for it now because I'm way far behind in the chat, but thanks for your super chat. Quinn says, how does he get the remains with a restraining order in place? Great question. But I guess, after the holder of that restraining order is dead, I guess the restraining order just poof, doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter. You're right. He did have a restraining order against the children as well. Great question. I think in song lyrics is here. So do I. It says definitely Drew Peterson vibes. Thanks for being with me for 16 months. I appreciate you so much. Mama, she says, I love this card pull and your hair today. Love your face. Oh, I love your face more. I love your face even more. Is it possible? Is it possible that I could love your face even more than I already do? Mama, you're amazing. I love you with all of my heart. Oh, please. Okay, hold on. All right. I got to try and figure out some technical difficulties. So let me know what you guys want to cover. If we come back like around 3 o'clock maybe and do another show today. We have a lot to catch up on Aaron Spencer. Somebody said here. I have that divorce filing. Somebody just sent it to me. And Vibe Flux where it said, Melanie, this is just a suggestion. If you want more eyes on this, why not make a short video and attach the link to the stream so that more people can watch and learn and be aware of it? I will do that. The thing is that it's just me. It's just me. It's just me back here screaming into a mic. I don't have a team of people like so many of our friends do. Have a whole team of people, and so I can clip it into a shorter video and then link it to that's a great idea. There's so many limited hours in the day, but I'll try and do that. I also don't like to pre-tape content and then like put it out, but because I love interacting with you on live streams. And so, yeah, maybe I'll branch out into pre-taping stuff and just putting it out. Maybe I will. Somebody heard my call for an editor and decided to start a channel in my name using my profile picture and clipping my content and putting it out there and said, well, you asked for somebody to help you make some shorts. And I said, well, yeah, but I didn't ask you to start a channel in my name using my profile picture. No, you can't do that. That's not, please don't misunderstand me. Please don't start a channel in my own name, in my name under you and then clip my content and put it up there. No, because I'll have to strike it. And I'm not a striker. I don't like to do that. I'm a swiper, not a striker. And luckily the person agreed to take it down, but I was like, the person was like, you asked for it. I'm like, no, I didn't. I talked about maybe hiring an editor at some point in the future to help me do things like that, like cut things into shorter clips and put them out as shorts or something. But no, no. Yes, YouTube doesn't put as much weight on pre-recorded, but it still helps with the algorithm. I know, but I like to, yeah, it was on YouTube. I like to interact with you guys. And so that's what I want to do. And that's what I'm doing. If I can, I will. If you guys can share it out, that would help as well. All right. Yeah, Premiere makes it possible for you to produce the content, but also be a part of the live chat while it premieres. Yeah, I know. It's just like, I don't like it. I don't like it. Maybe I will. Maybe. I like being live because premiering something, I'm a perfectionist. If I pre-record it, then I'm going to edit it ad nauseum. And then it's going to be, it's going to take me longer to edit it than it would for me to come on live and do it with you. I understand people don't like long streams, a lot of people, but whatever. I'll think about it. My chat, my choice. My chat, my choice. Right? I know it's multitasking. I'm a mother of 5. I'm a mother. I am. What time do you want to, I should teleport you if I'm going to do Aaron Spencer in a little while. It's going to still take me some more prep because I have to go through some of the, filings and read them all in their entirety and then summarize them for you. So that's going to take a little time. So how about we do, I have to go see, I have to check the schedule. Let's see. If a co-defendant takes a plea, turns state's evidence, can the judge hearing all the evidence at the end of the trial, can the judge still sentence the co-defendant, disregard the plea? Are you talking about the au pair trial? Are you talking about the au pair trial? If they have a deal in place, the judge should not overturn that deal. Oh, yeah. Also, I want to know if you want to recap any of the au pair trial openings, if you want to recap any of the Paul Canero testimony. That's going to be like a 10-week trial. That's going to be like a 10-week trial. And so that trial is going to be going on for a very long time. And I think that the Brendan Banfield trial, what they're calling the au pair or the love triangle case, is going to be going on for at least like 4 or 5 weeks, right? Yeah, she showed zero remorse. Canero. Yeah, I know. But I'm here for you guys. So whatever you guys want to follow, I'll follow. You know what I'm saying? Typically, the judge would hold that deal up. So if that's the one that you're talking about, that is, it's likely they will. Yes, you like the opinion. Yeah, okay. So keep commenting on that. I'll come back and read the chat. Also comment below the video. That helps the algorithm as well. This one is totally going to be stricken because there is way too much talk of DV and CA and all of the horrible things that Randy Beallis was accused of doing to his children and his wife, Charity, and his second wife. So they're going to strike it. So we're going to have to do something else. I can't commit to a trial right now, gavel to gavel, because as you know, I have a date with Dave Matthews in Cancun next week. And so it would be terrible of me to start a trial with you and then have to abandon you for 4 days. I can't go back to gavel until I know that I'm going to be home for the amount of time that it takes, because I don't want to half-ass anything. I'm not going to leave you stranded in the middle of a trial to have to go survive in the law and crime chat. I would never do that to you, and you know that. Yes, and I said this too, oh, Felicia, when we covered the pretrial on the au pair case. I said, why are they giving her such a sweetheart deal for testifying against him? Do they not have enough evidence to convict them both? It's crazy. Right? Yes, tell Ellen Jackson hi in Cancun. Let me see if I can fix my technical difficulties. I don't know what the hell's going on here. And then schedule something for later for Aaron Spencer, because I keep promising and I don't want to write a check that I can't cash. You know, I don't want to tell you something that I'm going to do and then not do it. So just make sure all your notifications are set. Make sure that you're getting notifications on your phone so that you will know. And let me check and see what else is going on out there. See what we can. K-Pick says, no, they don't actually. Without her testimony, they don't get him. They didn't have enough evidence against him forensically. Cell forensics, other computer forensics, ballistics. No? All right. So I guess they're doing what they're doing. And Mama, she says, please, please, please take us to Cancun with you. Oh, I would love to. I will. I'll take you to Cancun. I took you last year. Do you remember? Katie, no, I don't think that part of the deal is that she's getting time. Yeah, she is getting time served, and she's been in jail for a while now. We're talking about Juliana, not Margulies. And then being deported. I've heard that she may be getting deported, but I just don't know all the details on that. And I don't like to tell you something that might not be true. Kat Randall just left the Banfield courtroom. Tell me all about it. Tell me all about it. Yeah, you guys remember live from Cancun last year with Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds? Wasn't that awesome? Wasn't that? So I saw that. We played that. We played Alan Jackson. Tell me you didn't watch my show without telling me you didn't watch my show. Lucy, we talked about it the other day. Maybe it was yesterday. We reviewed not only the Rotten Mango podcast with Karen Reed, we also reviewed the Lifetime movie about Karen Reed, and we reviewed Billy Bush's interview with Alan Jackson, or at least portions of it. Okay. So go back and take a listen, and we can all buy those bracelets of Alan Jackson, right? Heather loves my live streams because there isn't commercials, she says. Awesome. I love that you love it. All right, you guys, thank you for keeping it classy today, and thank the moderators for keeping it classy today. And also, do all the things. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy, and above all, stay safe. I'm going to see you real soon, because if I don't see you soon, I'm going to die. Let me see if I can work out these technical difficulties, and if I can, I'll be back to you in just a little bit. Smash the like button, everyone, on your way out, and comment respectfully, and I love you with all my heart. Bye. Peace.